Capitalist alert. Ouch. No. I was in the menu for no reason. No. Spawn me back here.
Playing with 76.
We're gonna keep going. Look, you know, that game has never been more popular than it is right now as we're talking, and so we have a great kind of internal roadmap of things that we're doing for the next several years for that game. We think it's going to keep continuing and keep continuing. I think one of the things that you see, you know, in the industry overall is people play their games for longer. You know, this study at the end of last year, like the top 10 played games for 2023, the average age of those games was 6 years old.
Wow.
Fallout 76 is now 6 years old. The only new game, I think, in that list was Starfield, and the only single-player game, new IP, excuse me. And so we found this too with Skyrim, turning 13 years old, that people really do play these games for a long time. And so for 76, we think it's going to continue and continue.
Do you have any ideas, any teasers, anything you can kind of throw out there for long term? Like, I really love the idea of expeditions. In some senses, it didn't go how I anticipated. I really like what America's Playground did. I'm like, okay, cool, new open playable zones. Is there a plan to do maybe like more of those moving forward? Is that a piece of support you're thinking about doing for 76?
I think the expeditions are good. They're okay. The map expansion, we feel is a much better, you know,
me too.
Big free content updates.
Yep.
It's a much more meaningful one. We're going to see how Skyline Valley does. There's another part to it that then is coming as well.
Ooh, there's another part to
So
it?
I don't want to spoil it,
Fucking
that
sweet.
type of thing where people can play on the map. I'm going through the list of features now. Well, I would say this. We teased the ghoul pretty early. You know, that's pretty early for us to tease a feature that's coming, you know, early-ish next year to Fallout 76. And that's a really good one that changes how your character plays. So I think the good thing about a game like that, if you look at the last 6 years of updates we've done, I think there's close to 50 updates to the game. You see kind of, you know, how things changed and evolved over that time period. And we feel we're able to keep that up.
Got it. One thing I've always wondered about with 76, because at times I wondered if it was kind of caught in this rock and a hard place situation where...
No, it's always been good. You got just shat all over it and almost killed Bethesda.
Get to the next level. You know, but you guys give it out for free, which I think has been wise, right? Because at one point it was kind of like clawing back and getting that comeback story. Now I think it's just at the most accepted it's been. People are like, this is great, this is awesome. Have you guys ever considered, this is going to come across like I'm advocating for it, I love free stuff, but have you considered like, oh, we could push the needle with this piece of content and do a little bit more, but we'd have to charge for it? Or is like the idea moving forward 76, like let's continue to keep this just free updates often? Because I know you guys already have like the battle pass and the atomic shop and so on. So have you ever thought about charging for like actual added on, you know, quests or locations that maybe let you get a little more ambitious because you get a little back?
The good news is that the other things you talked about, like the atomic shop, Fallout First, the seasons and rank ups and all of these things that are there, and I know like that kind of, you see it in games sometimes, that those types of monetization, you know, they get a negative reaction, but the one thing they do allow us to do is do these big expansions and give them to everybody for free. And so I think there's a debate there on like what is the right approach. I will say that approach is working awesome for 76, and we got a really, really healthy community around the game, and that when we're able to drop like a Skyline Valley, because it is an online game, you want the community, everybody is experiencing that together. So I just want to say, like, here, like, shout out to the Fallout 76 community. You know, that game obviously had a rough launch, and our community really stuck with it. And given the nature of the game where we started, which is, hey, the players in this world are going to make it their own. Can't say enough about them as new players come into the game.
Here's Saw talking, and this is what I wanted to hear.
That there could be. And we were hearing from like our elder players, people who played the game for years, how excited they were when the show came out and all these new players came in, because it changed the game for them as well. So really, really special.
Yeah, no, it really is an awesome community. It's not even just like a talking piece. They're so sweet. They're so nice, and feels like online nowadays it's becoming exceedingly rare. So it's super appreciated what the 76 community does. Last 76, really a question I had for you. Again, this is my own interpretation. Was when 76 was introduced as this sort of live service product, for me, I thought a little bit of Elder Scrolls Online. Like, okay, this will be sort of the thing that's supported for a while, and we might not see a new actual Fallout entry for some time as like Bethesda goes to work on other stuff. Is there ever a fear or a trepidation from Bethesda Game Studios that these, like a Fallout game from a mainline entry, can't stand side by side with 76? And I guess that kind of ties into Elder Scrolls as well, because you've gotten these spin-offs, for example, since ESO, but we haven't seen like a mainline entry since then. Is there this kind of concern of like, can we have two Fallout games existing at once, or two Elder Scrolls games existing at once, or do you want to just, I mean, was this part of the plan, like let 76 cook, get its legs, and get to a point now where it's doing the best it has ever been?
Look, that's a really good question, and when you're sort of starting those things, we have that fear as well. Is one game going to cannibalize another? I think the good news is, as long as like the initial releases are spread out a little bit, they don't. They both find their audiences, right? Like Skyrim is still one of our most played games, while Elder Scrolls Online is celebrating their 10th anniversary and doing really well. We've noticed even when we update those games, they don't really cannibalize each other. Then you see it with Fallout 4 kind of hitting #1 on the charts, and then 76 right behind it. And so, I mean, logic would say there's a little bit of cannibalization between the two, but much, much less in practice than we thought between these games. So, you know, when there's another Fallout, we'll call it classically single-player game, my expectation is 76 is just as healthy as it is today.
Awesome. That's really good to hear. With that in mind, I had a question about kind of the future of Bethesda Game Studios titles. Starfield, you've said, has years of updates on the way. You know, Skyrim still gets updated. Fallout 4 just got a next-gen SKU, etc. I've started to define your games, and you tell me if this is fair or not, as, quote, single-player service titles, end quote. Like, that's how I've started to interpret it. Like, this is a product, it arrives, and you guys just continue to stick with it. Should this be the expectation moving forward for your games, that they'll continue to get updated for years and years and years?
I don't know that I would put that label on it, but I think the end thing you said, which is that expectation that we'll update them for years, is true. We would look back at Skyrim, which we're still updating,
right, to
a small extent, and there's all of the creations and mods there. Still a hugely played game. Same with Fallout 4, that we wish we had supported them longer, right? And we're still doing work there. So going back to that people staying in games, we went into 76 knowing, hey, this is a game we're going to support for as long as we can. Starfield, we go into that knowing the same thing. And as we go into Elder Scrolls 6, we sort of, with all of these games, you got to start now by thinking about like a 10-year horizon, right? How do we support a game for that long? And that's the trick. Like, as we sit here right now, our games have never been more popular. We have last month.
You've said that like 7 times. Shut up.
Our games, and so it's just like a staggering amount of people and players that we hear from. Where our #1 job always is like, how are we serving that audience on a month-to-month basis? So we're taking care of them while also developing, you know, new products.
With that in mind, because you mentioned like future games, I know you want to let it have its moment and everything, but is Elder Scrolls 6 like in that bag of, yeah, we got to start thinking long-term roadmap for that, you know, what's 10 years of support looking like for that? Because I remember you said with Skyrim, you know, that kind of changed your outlook on how things work, because people just kept coming back to Skyrim, and it's like you continue to support it So with Elder Scrolls 6 going in with that knowledge, is the plan like a long-term support for that too?
100%. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Seeing what obviously what Skyrim has done or other games, and I think you could say, look, for Elder Scrolls 6, yeah, I'll just stop there. we know people are going to play it for a long time, and it's not just, I think
You said that already.
It's not just what it means for content. It means it goes further than that in, you know,
I'm about to
type
get
of
my
game,
760
what it
wood
means for your
thing.
character,
That's good.
what it means for other things, to say, hey, can this be something that you come back to? And so we see that with Skyrim, what people do in the game today, and I'm, you know, even though it's popular, what are people doing when they come back to the game after, you know, putting it down for a few years? So
I have more Elder Scrolls questions, but I want to get this straggling Fallout question out of the way, and we'll move on to Elder Scrolls. One thing that a lot of fans have asked about with the Fallout franchise is about Fallout 1 and 2. They could use a little modernization. I know some OG fans may disagree with that, and I respect and understand that, but has there ever been a thought or an idea internally to maybe, I look at Wasteland as an example, like Wasteland 1, you can go ahead and play on Xbox. Has there ever been a thought to port these games, make them a little more beginner friendly? Because the most common thing I hear about Fallout 1 and 2, which is a shame because I was one of those people who was introduced to Fallout with 3, and when I first saw Fallout 1 and 2, I probably had the same thought many did, which is like, that's not Fallout, what is that? Like, is that once I opened up to it, I was like, oh my god, these are incredible video games, and like more people need to experience these, and I think more people would appreciate, especially things you guys have done with like the Fallout TV show, which clearly pull from the originals in a lot of ways. Have you ever considered like modernizing these in any way? Because I know it's a little bit of a tougher get because, you know, this is such an old project, but whether it be on PC or consoles, has there ever been a consideration of modernizing them, making them more beginner friendly? Have you ever thought about that?
well, look, love the question, and agree with a lot of what you said. A main priority for us is to make sure they're available and you can still play them. So in the PC, obviously they're there for people to go and get and play, and making sure that, you know, they run okay. As far as sort of beyond that, we've talked about it, but, you know, our priorities in terms of, hey, let's go do dev work and make certain things work. They haven't been in those areas. So again, priority is, hey, can people load it up and play it? And I do think we want it to load up and run well. The rest of it, like, I could argue, I think some of the charm of games, you know, from that area in the original Fallouts is a little bit of that age, right?
Yeah.
So I would never want to sort of, you know, paste over some of that with, well, we changed how this works, so it's more modern. Again, so as long as you can download it, as long as it loads up and runs, I think I'd like people to experience it the way it was.
No, I totally respect that. So what if you had it as the way it was on consoles? Is that ever like I don't even know if that would be possible with the way the game controls, but have you thought of that?
Anything is possible, but, you know, that's going to be a longer dev throw, and you sort of have to ask yourself, is that where we want to put our time right now? Or is it best played the way it was on a PC? And I think right now, if you ask me, I think the best way to play it is on a PC, mouse and keyboard, the way it was.
Sure. I appreciate you being clear on that. With that, those are my Fallout questions. Just want to dovetail a little into Elder Scrolls, and then we'll move to Starfield. Elder Scrolls fans have had to wait a long time for a little love, and now that Starfield's done, we're, you know, not done, I should say, but Starfield's out. You know, we're figuring things out with that. We're looking ahead. We're looking at Elder Scrolls 6, and the question always is, you know, why the long wait between Skyrim and Elder Scrolls 6? And you've answered that a multitude of times, so I'm not going to try to bog you down with that question, but it kind of goes to the source of the same Fallout question I had for you about spin-offs. I think, well, I don't know if Elder Scrolls could have the similar style, like New Vegas spin-off, if you will, where it feels like a mainline game, but it's done by a different developer. You guys experimented what felt like briefly, like you had Elder Scrolls Online. That's a success. You had Elder Scrolls Legends. I know that got shut down a couple of years later. I feel like the spin-off ideas are like very plentiful. Like I could see an immersive sim style game with like the Dark Brotherhood or something like that would be sick. But have you guys ever spun your wheels on that? Or because again, I'm coming from the interpretation of what I see from like my community and various communities online. Some people think like Bethesda's super protective of Elder Scrolls because that's your baby, right? Like Morrowind, your guys' backs were against the wall, and this was like your comeback game, and it really put you guys in a place in the industry where like you just had success after success, and here you are now. So are you as protective of Elder Scrolls as people online dare to suggest? And is there ever a world where maybe someone else gets their hands on the Elder Scrolls franchise for some sort of additional work beyond Elder Scrolls Online?
Well, first, I would say is we're protective of all the franchises as you think. Like, we want to make sure they're great and we're serving the audience really, really well. And so, I mean, it's kind of the same answer from Fallout, which is
Sure.
there are a lot of things we look at with Elder Scrolls. You know, you mentioned an immersive Dark Brotherhood sim. I'm not suggesting that wouldn't be a bad game, but I don't view that as filling some hole. I mean, pretty, like, I think what people want out of Elder Scrolls is a mainline game like Skyrim, like Oblivion.
Sure.
And if I look at the franchise again, Elder Scrolls Online,
Yeah, that's never been
has
what
done
that
so well.
what that
I can't
series
say enough
was.
great things about the team at ZeniMax Online. Really good friends with Matt Fire and what they've done over a decade with that game in a very difficult market, making an MMO. Now, and I've said this, the gap between, I think I saw this on the Twixter, that it's the 6th anniversary of us releasing the teaser for Elder Scrolls 6. Might be today.
Man. Really? Okay.
And so that did make me pause and say, oh, wow, that has been a while. And so appreciate that wait. Like, I was talking about college football. Like, and now that we're working on Elder Scrolls 6 and we get to see it here in the studio, you know, you do miss it. And so appreciate all of those thoughts and are with the fans on that. And we're working hard on it. And so, you know, one day we'll have it to everybody.
Yeah, you guys have been working on that for a hot minute now, it seems like. How much were you getting done with it while like Starfield was in active development? Is that something you're able to speak on?
We do. We overlap a lot in those. We give our pre-production.
You mean you release the same game over and over and over again?
About something, and you know, a lot of the Starfield technology is the starting point for Elder Scrolls 6, and then obviously we try to do another jump up in technology with looking at, you know, what's coming in the future, how do we do that, and always be moving the ball forward.
Are you able to expand a little bit on like what that tech is, or is that just secret for now?
It's secret for now.
Okay, understood. All right, let's move on to Starfield then, because we do have brand new information and DLC on that. I have many questions for that. So, for starters, I want to start with your guys' big June update here, where it's really to the games, at least from the player perspective, it seems like the two biggest updates where you guys have launched like big features into the game, and this was when you guys just at the, I want to say the top of this year, you can correct me if I'm wrong, or it was the end of last year, said like, hey, every 6 weeks or so we'll have something for you. But these are two pretty sizable updates, kind of going back to back. Is this what the cadence can look like moving forward for Starfield into the Shattered Space expansion and maybe even beyond it?
Well, first, I think the cadence of things, you know, I think it's going to differ depending on the update that we're doing and where our development lands. I think sometimes, look, you'll have some shorter gaps. Sometimes you'll have bigger gaps between bigger updates. And so these two just, you know, they kind of lined up that way. And we really felt coming into the Xbox showcase, that was a really good moment to sort of launch you know, the mod tools and the creations, even though it was, you know, close to the maps and the gameplay options that we just did. But, you know, those lined up really well for us dev-wise. But then, look, there'll probably be more of a gap after this. There'll be some next year as we look at, you know, those big beats for kind of year 2 that we're planning. And so we'll make sure, hopefully, that we communicate that well to the audience so they kind of know. But I think that 6-week thing that you're referencing, I don't see that holding true, and I don't know that it's that helpful if we have something bigger planned to sort of space that out as long as we're letting everybody know.
No, it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Starfield Shattered Space, I thought this trailer looked phenomenal. Like, I already love Starfield, but I thought that the base game kind of, I'm driven to this mentality by like the score of the game. there was like a curiosity, a wonder, like what's out there, go figure it out. Shattered Space kind of felt like, well, now you know what's out there, and it's not looking too good. So one thing that people have been wondering about with the time that Starfield was spent in development, and then it got that delay into late last year, is about how long this DLC, this expansion, sorry, has been cooking. How long have you guys been working on this one? Again, this goes back to like, it blows my mind for your team size in today's industry. You said 450. How much you guys get done. I know you have a lot of partners and whatnot, but it's so. I don't think people really understand how crazy it is what you guys are able to pull off. So, How long has Shattered Space been in development for?
We started it like actual dev work when we finished Starfield, so early September, end of August, September last year. But we had, obviously talked about it. Here's what it's going to be. We had announced the name. I think when we announced the deluxe edition, premium edition of Starfield. But to your point, we are doing a lot. We kind of have 5 teams within the studio, both with obviously Starfield, Elder Scrolls 6 we talked about, the Fallout 76 work. We have a mobile team, and then we have a team that handles kind of development partnerships and external development that we do along with other folks that help us out. And so, to your point, it is a lot, but Shattered Space, again, something we had planned for. And one of the things that, it's great to see everybody react to the trailer and the mood that we're trying to put out there. But one of the things that we always liked about it from the get-go, and I don't think people realize, is that Shattered Space, the bulk of that expansion pack, pretty much, once you get to the city and the planet, it takes place there.
That's going to be one of my questions.
It allows us to build a landscape like we would traditionally do and have the city and the quest. And so that story takes place there, and the landscape's kind of, content-wise, we're looking at kind of like what we do with Far Harbor on Fallout 4. We're like, okay, this is a scope that works for, our development in doing this kind of annual story expansion type of thing. So really excited about that, and it lets us, kind of do some things the way we would in previous games and give people not completely that experience because it's still Starfield.
Sure.
But, this new kind of alien world that you're able to explore, and it takes place there.
I love that, and I think people are going to be very thrilled to learn that because, one of the critiques really coming out of Starfield's launch was the exploration. I know you've spoken to how Starfield's going to handle a little differently to Fallout, to Elder Scrolls. Like, they're all going to feel a little different in how they play and how you get around and whatnot. Would you say that some of that focus, you said you started dev work in September, so maybe you were aware of it, but would you say that some of that response, some of that criticism that came your way fueled the direction of where you were going with Shattered Space? It was like, let's keep this kind of in one area for the most part.
I would say when we were making Starfield, look, we struggled with, how to make exploration fun on big barren planets. And we felt good with where we landed, knowing that it's not going to scratch the same itch for a lot of people that you would when you have a more bespoke landscape that you're exploring. So it was for us too. We know we wanted to build something like that and felt that this was the right way to go about it with something that had its own theme and tone that we could put, on a planet. So I think one of the benefits of Starfield and its scope is it allows something like that within it while feeling natural.
I can't believe you just walked in here.
It wasn't a reaction. It was our own reaction that we had as well.
That's right.
Cool.
Remember, it came.
Now, you mentioned annual expansions. So is that
What
like
we
the plan,
do
like each
if we
year?
find
Because you mentioned year 2 of Starfield. Each year is going to have like a new story expansion. Because
I've marked
I won't spoil it for anyone listening, so don't worry. But
step 1.
Starfield kind of ends in a spot where I think there's a full circle moment, but there's also like, I have some questions. And I think Shattered Space with Andreja
I'm
like
glad to hear.
is answering
It's a
some
good
questions. So is the idea to
You have your
continue to
dismiss.
answer those questions in continuous years with expansions, not to lock you guys in too hard. I know things change, but would you say you're aiming to do like an annual story expansion every year?
I would say we want to, more or less, yeah. How long that continues? Hopefully a very long time, but we're planning for the one after this, so there will be another one. And I don't know that our goal is to answer every question. We sort of look at it and say, hey, what's a good angle? What do we want to add to the game as far as an experience or a tone or those kind of things, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. So beyond the story too, do these expansions add anything gameplay wise? Like I saw you guys are working on a vehicle, which is awesome.
The vehicle
So
is
excited. Yeah, I'm so
I
excited for that.
can't. Yeah.
But
The
do you guys
vehicle.
plan on adding any
Fix the
more gameplay
jetpack
events
and the
or
game would be
changes
better.
there? You don't have to specify what if you can't.
Fix the jetpack,
We're looking at
put
all.
more mobs in,
Okay, cool.
get an enemy
Let's talk about
spawner,
creations.
and you have a
You
good
did mention
game.
a little bit earlier getting added into the Starfield June update. I want to start from the top and then we'll get into the actual creations themselves. Because a lot of people, I feel, come at the creation engine, you know, oh, it's buggy, janky, etc., etc. And I've always been just a staunch defender of it because I think some people fail to understand that it enables the things that they very much like about Bethesda Game Studios games, which is like the customization, the modability of it, and just the amazing content that comes from the community. Has the feedback ever come in hot enough where you guys have had conversations about switching engines before? Because this is something people were like, "Oh, why don't they make Elder Scrolls 6 on, you know, something like Unreal Engine?" I don't think that would make much sense for them with all the tech you guys have invested
I think
in,
it would.
assets you have to use for your next game. But has that ever been a conversation like, wow, people don't like this engine for some reason, should we switch? Or has your faith in it been unshakable?
Well, I would say every game we do, we want to push our technology. I think for what we do, having a custom engine is absolutely the best way to go, because what we do is so unique in the scale of what we do and the agency we give the players and how systemic so many things in the world are. And we keep pushing it and we keep pushing it. And so I cannot say enough about our tech team here and the technology stack and tools that they've given all of us to build at this scale at speed. You then see what it's done to our modding community, right? In terms of, hey, their ability to use it. And whenever we're making that tech, it's always part of our conversation here in the studio. Like, we love doing this. How do we get it out to other people so they can do it as well? And I think if you look at a lot of, I'll just say, top games out there, a lot of them have custom engines and custom tech stacks, what they need to do. And so we're really no different there. We're always looking to push it. And I think if you're a game developer, you see a lot of that. And I think it's great that our coders here and everybody, honored with a lot of, awards as well over the last year at the GDC Awards nomination for technology, at the BAFTAs, and et cetera. So we're really, really happy with where we got it for Starfield. But then obviously we know, like, hey, we look what else is out there. Where can we push it? Working with our other, graphics partners across the industry. And hey, where are you going? Let's work on stuff together and push it wherever we can.
On that mindset here with creations, I had a chance to dive in and just look at what you guys had there. For starters, I noticed like, oh, there's a tracker quest. I'll get into a separate thing on that in a moment, but what I noticed also, by the way, which this is a crazy stat that I don't think many people are talking about, is that the storage amount is up to like 100 gigabytes now for console mods, which I think that's up from, was it 2 or 4 in your guys' last game, which is incredible because I think that just enables so much. So beyond the additional storage you guys have found there, which just lets you completely overhaul the game, what can you say that modders will be able to pull off now with the new creation kit in tow?
Well, our hope is, look, they can do anything that we've done with the game, and getting that out there and already seeing things populated is great. Going back to the space, we know that was an issue for folks, and we worked, early on to how big can we make this? The issue with changing it on the old games, it actually wipes everybody's mods. So we have to be, like, we can't just change it on the old games. Like, we wish we could just go like that and it's bigger. But going into Starfield, we're like, well, how big, what's the maximum it could possibly be? Because a lot of these mods and creations get really big. So I just think that whole part, for our games, it's so important to us to have all of that there, and really to support our creators as well. And so we had a bunch of them in the studio last month, and getting to meet our creators, it really was an incredible experience for us here. And a lot of them now, they've gone from kind of hobbyist to professional, and seeing that emotion on their faces when, hey, I quit my job, I'm doing this full time now, and you see what they're doing, and the stuff I've seen that's coming is just awesome.
Autopilot jumping.
Yeah, I love your guys' focus on your modding community, because it feels, Ernest, it's awesome that you had them in the studio. I'm sure that was like just insanely validating for them to be there and to have that moment. But on that mindset here, I had this question for you for later, but I think it's more relevant now.
Active.
Is would you guys ever consider a sort of, for lack of a better term, like an indie style studio, or maybe team? Studio might be a strong term. I look at Obsidian as a pretty good example. Like, obviously they're working on EvE, they're working on the Outer Worlds. It's like, okay, these are what I put in quotes, big. But then you had like a small team of, I think it was 13 that make Grounded. They had Josh Sawyer and a smaller Splinter team kind of go off and make
Pentiment.
I've kind of always liked that idea of just breaking up this big team into small fragments. Like, you guys are already broken up doing a lot of different things, so maybe we've already sort of answered this question, but I know you personally, Todd, have said multiple times on the record that you like to make the big game, the universe, the world you kind of live in. But what about beyond that? Have you ever considered about smaller teams, indie-style studio, indie-style projects, kind of trying to, fuel the mid-tier project, if you will, just because I'm noticing more and more that these smaller games, these mid-sized games are kind of carrying, not carrying, I should say, but they're really pushing the industry forward as well. And it would be really interesting to see you guys get behind that, or is that where, to wrap it up, your creator kind of pushes, like, let's support the modders who support our games? Like, have you ever considered an indie-style team at all?
Well, as we talked about before, we're doing quite a bit. We have a whole bunch of teams in work, and I think two parts to an answer there. One is, because our games are so big and they're these worlds, you can almost view them as platforms where doing a piece of DLC or whatever becomes a small team for us, that we can make something and get it out. The other thing is, the niche for us in a smaller team standalone project really is mobile, right? We had great success with Fallout Shelter, then we did Blades and the Elder Scrolls Castles mobile game that's coming out worldwide soon. It's in soft launch a number of places. That lets us do something where it's a separate game. We're kind of being able to get something out there in a different fashion.
Okay. Because I have all these different ideas for like a smaller, let's say, hypothetical Fallout game or something like that, but that wouldn't be, this goes back to what we talked about at the top, right? It's about, not checking that box in that list or hitting that cadence. It's about kind of doing it right when, things just come together. So,
but for example, let's say you had an idea for a smaller Fallout experience. It's better for us to say, okay, how do we do that and get it out in Fallout 76, right?
Okay.
And if you view these things as kind of platforms for those experiences,
Sure.
we have the ability to do that. We kind of do it now, but just kind of in that way.
No, that's a perfect answer. That totally brings it into frame. Sticking with this kind of community-driven content, I just had to ask, because when I was in the creation store, I saw, for example, there was a ship module that was $10. I know you don't go in there and personally set the prices yourself. I saw that some additional tracker quests were behind a paywall, and a lot of people seem to be very behind the idea of creations, but they get upset with the pricing structure. I just want to know if you have any comment on that matter, because some people are just upset with how it's being handled. Paid mods again is what they're saying. So are there any thoughts, responses, changes to what's happening with that system? Any pricing changes incoming?
Yeah, we hear that feedback too, and first of all, I say that stuff gets priced based on things that we've done before, both in Creation Club and then Fallout 76, and we're always trying to be kind of looking at what else is out there, really make sure we're giving value to everybody, and where we're not, hey, we definitely will adjust. The one thing I want to say on the Trackers Alliance, that was really an attempt to something we did in Creation Club, where we'd say, hey, you get this special outfit and you get this special weapon. We kind of wanted to put them together, and then thought, let's go the extra mile and wrap those around a quest. But now we definitely see the feedback, right? And it's like not what we want at all, in terms of, oh no, this looks like a faction that we're chopping up and then selling for 700 credits at a time. And so I do think we're going to take a look at that and how we deliver content, like that, and whether we're changing pricing or breaking it up, or what we should do there. So great feedback from the community. The one thing I'll say, we see the feedback, and a lot of people kind of, oh no, they're charging for mods. Like, as it comes to, particularly the creators out there, look, our view is that a lot of them have gone from hobbyists to professionals, and it's part of our job to make sure they can do that, and that they do get paid, and they see the monetary rewards from if they make awesome content. And so we had a great experience with Creation Club with our creators, and then the version we're doing now that first launched in Skyrim, everyone's just responded to really, really well. And I think it's important for us, that part of it gives us a really healthy modding community, right? Where you do have professionals, and we've seen their content kind of rise all boats in it, but you still have, I mean, literally millions of free creations there. And we look across the games that we've done, they've literally done like billions of downloads of mods. And it's super important to us that all of that stays really, really healthy. We think it's a big fabric of who we are as a studio, how we talk about modding, what our community
Really?
is there.
Because you don't treat them like
make sure that
that.
we're active and making sure it's as good as it possibly can be for really everybody involved. Obviously the players, and then the creators.
It's great that you guys have recognized the feedback and you're planning to do something about it. Would you say that maybe going forward you'll just kind of split it up? Or, I mean, you can't say it's a one-size-fits-all for all these mods. It's about their vision at the end of the day. But would you say moving forward, like, oh, we're not maybe going to, like, tie this quest to a faction? Maybe we'll just put this quest kind of standalone? Is there going to be some sort of change in how that process goes moving forward based on what you've seen so far?
Well, again, something like the Trackers Alliance started with, hey, we have a cool spacesuit or outfit or weapon. How do we get that out, right? Do we want to put that up in the store for this amount, or do we want to do a quest? And just what's the best way to deliver that? Again, we had a lot of experience doing that way in Creation Club. And so, but we hear the feedback. We need to evaluate, both pricing, what we put out for free, how we communicate what's in something, and really hear from the community there.
Cool.
And again, I point out we've done that across the other games, Skyrim, Fallout 4, 76 in particular. Yeah.
Absolutely. Maybe this isn't like a completely connected topic, but it's still something I wanted to get your thoughts on. I feel like with the release of Starfield and the review period, as someone who was a part of it, I was very much an enjoyer of the game. And I understand some of the criticisms that came its way, but I look at moments maybe less like that period where Starfield's reviews were coming out and it kind of felt like it was starting to snowball a little bit, and more like Fallout Season 1. You guys put out, alongside the team at Kilter Films and Amazon, this really great show. And I mean, I'm sorry, as someone who's like a skeptic, I was like, this blew my... It was so good. I gotta tell you, dude. It was so good that I literally had imposter syndrome. I was like, this is that friggin' good, man. Like I said to my fiance, I was like, I want to make something that makes someone feel that way one day, because that was like incredible. So to me, as a major Fallout fan who had skepticism stepping in, I thought you guys just blew the expectations out of the water. And I felt like what started to come from that, you can still pick and choose how much you pay attention to it. It's like, well, Bethesda hates New Vegas. Like, that was the kind of narrative come from that season of the TV show. And I just want to get into the mentality of not just you, but the studio. And if this affects anyone at all, I think it's really good that there's this back and forth between, like, what we're doing here, me and you, creator, developer, but also, like, the fans can give their feedback, and they can be heard more than ever now with, like, social media and stuff, like, as they gather. But I've noticed that a lot of the feedback has become less about the game and more personal, and sometimes making things up that I don't think are entirely true. And I'm just, you've said before, like, we really do read it all. And as someone who runs my own channels and tries to read it all, like, some days it's just the worst. Like, some days you don't want to read it all. You want to shut the blinds and just go work on something else and not pay any mind to it. So has any of this been to the team's kind of detriment? And to put it under an umbrella, do you sometimes feel like Bethesda Game Studios, for maybe a lack of a better term, has a target painted on their back?
Well, I would say you alluded to it, but you've experienced some of that, right? In your creating of content and what the people who view it and say and what their comments are. And look, the stuff that we do, you reach a level of popularity and a hype, and you just have to understand, like, for us, I know a lot of that comes with it, okay? And you do grow a pretty thick skin if you really want to do this. You have to grow a thick skin in accepting the criticism. That's what makes us better. And these franchises and the time that people spend in the games, they're really, really important to them. It's not always pleasant to read, no. It's like you wish people would be nicer, but it does matter a lot to them. And so I usually, and yeah, well, the answer is yes, it does affect people here. They put their hearts and souls into these projects for years and years, and they care about it, all of us, so much to do the best job that we can. But at the end of the day, the fans and the consumers, they should, if it's not living up to what they want out of it, we expect that criticism. We need to hear it, and we need to get better, and we're really, really welcoming of it. We're actually like our harshest critics here in terms of all of that. And so you do get used to it. You do have to grow a thick skin, and just, we love it so much that, look, that's part of it. We know it's coming, and you know what? We dive into Reddit a lot. I'll probably read all of the comments on this video. So hey everybody, yeah, I'm reading. Be nice. Don't be nice. If I see something stupid, call me out on it. It's fine. And I've done that, you know, in enough interviews to know. So, but you know, I'd say the same thing to any creator out there, whether it's what you do, Maddie, and making these videos, or people making music, putting on SoundCloud, or doing all these things. When you're a creator, no matter what you do, whether you're a game developer, an artist, or whatever, that's going to be part of your experience. And you just have to make sure for yourself, like, do we love this? Do we feel good about it? If so, then we're going to put it out there, and hopefully it'll find an audience that feels the same way.
Awesome. I want to know on that mindset here, just with the general reception to stuff you guys put out there. I always like to ask this question. I guess it's a selfish question, I'll admit, because I've started working on my own game with a small team for the better part of like 2-3 years now. And what I always think about is the launch period. Like, I feel confident we'll get there, and I think what we have is something I'm really happy with. I think about the general reception, and so I look at moments like Starfield. I know you guys are on like a whole other level than whatever I will end up being, but I look at the general reception to Starfield where, you know, there's like a good take here, a hot take there, and it felt like, again, that review process, it came out strong, really good review scores, and I don't think that goes away, but it felt like the community discourse gradually snowballed, and it got increasingly more negative. So I want to know from your angle for you, I'm glad you have thick skin, but was the reception what you envisioned? What is the feel for you going into a launch like that, especially Starfield? It feels like we've been hearing about it for so long. As someone who covers you guys' games, I was covering it since it was like a trademark listing. So was the launch what you in particular envisioned, or do you just kind of detach yourself from that? It's like, we have to be able to adjust. We can't create these expectations.
You mentioned the reviews. You know, we were ecstatic. The majority of our reviews in a year, it could be the best year ever for gaming. I don't know. And then, you know, being on all these best of the year kind of lists that the game was on, and it's a new IP, so you never quite know with a new IP how it's going to land. And so, I think all the comments in the game and things like that, it's a big game with a lot of hype. You're going to have, it's a double-edged sword. You're going to have a lot of positives, and you're going to have a lot of people it didn't resonate with, or very specific criticism of the game that, you know, a lot of it, we hear that, and some of it like, yeah, we thought about that. Let's see what we can do. Let's do that. This is we're going to keep making it better and better. So, again, we do really, really welcome it, and it's part of, like, who we are as we move forward, not just with Starfield, but, hey, how are we approaching loot systems as we go into future games or things like that.
It's funny you bring that up. I do have a question about that, because I noted with Starfield how it felt like to me there was some shifts in design philosophies. And again, Starfield's its own thing, so part of me is like, hey, you know, this is its own thing, but also I think there's a shared DNA throughout your games with certain elements. And so I look at like the way you guys handle food. Like, I love the whole unique weapon and armor system, which I know is still in Starfield, but I think like Skyrim was one of those moments I was like, that's where I really recognized I fell in love with it. In fact, that was like kind of some of my first videos I made about your guys' games, is just like, here's how you get the Dawnbreaker or whatever. I just loved hunting those down. Whereas I noticed with Fallout 4 it really began, 76, Starfield. You guys have sort of focused on things like legendary weapons. And that's just like one example. I know with Starfield it's a little more procedural generation, changes how the exploration feels. And I feel like in some instances it's just isolated to Starfield. In some other instances, like the loot, it's carrying across multiple games. So would you say maybe that your design philosophies have shifted over the years on like what you guys enjoy putting in the games? The stats say like, hey, they like the legendary weapons more than the unique loot and armor, or is it an asset intensive lift where it's like, oh, we got to make unique looking assets for all these weapons, we can't do that constantly, so this is an easier way to do it and create a lower lift? Like, what is some of the thought process behind some of the design philosophies, at least that I noticed, that changed heading into Starfield?
Great question. We can get really like stat nerdy here for a minute.
Sure.
Yeah, like I think we need both, right? So the one-off kind of those story-based items, whether it's weapons or armor, love to do those, and you can never kind of do enough of them. The other side, which is the legendary system that you see in Starfield, some of that takes the place of like enchanted or magic weapons that you would see in an Elder Scrolls, right? And I think there are a lot of games. We still have a ways to go. We've done a lot of strides in 76 as it comes to loot drops and that grind. Starfield, I think we moved the ball in terms of where we were in Fallout, but I think we have a ways to go. There are a lot of games out there that just all they are loot grinds, and they do it really, really well. And balancing that, is a big trick. And I think everybody here plays a lot of games where you see it done really well, or you see it's okay, and then they update the game and they just tweak loot drops, and the game feels so much different and so much more rewarding. And so I think we need both. I like those bespoke weapons that have a story behind them. You're going after a cave artifact and those kind of things. But then the idea that, I might get that drop. I'm going to keep exploring. I'm going to get that legendary drop that has just the right amount of tweaks to the stats that my character is getting better, I'm more effective, and that really makes kind of those in-between moments more rewarding than they normally would be.
The exploration is one thing I was very curious about, in that, like, I know you guys have always said that the terrain that you build your map upon is procedurally generated, and so I think a lot of people were caught off guard with how much you leaned into procedural tech with Starfield, but I'm like, this is kind of what they've been doing forever, it feels like. But how big of a part in your games moving forward will that kind of be? In that, with Starfield, it felt like it went from the terrain to the content, and I'm very curious if that's going to continue to be a thing where you're going to have, because like, what I really liked about, I'll say Skyrim as another example once more, is the Thieves Guild quest line eventually evolved into where you had to like restore its like former glory, and it kind of evolved into this procedural quest line, but there was an endpoint, right? And I think that endpoint was so crucial. Whereas you guys now, with the popularity of your games, I think have to think beyond that. Like, it might be 10 years before we get back to this, so we have to, make sure this is endless. So is procedural generation going to continue to play a massive factor moving forward with other games you do, like including Elder Scrolls 6?
I wouldn't say massive. It's always been a tool in our toolbox. For a game like Starfield, we had to sort of take it all the way and evolving that technology to do planets, to put all that content
Your results
around.
weren't that good.
But I think it has a place where you need to kind of fill out landscape as opposed to doing it all by hand. It can be better to do some of that procedural. So, I think it depends on what we're doing. Starfield obviously takes it all the way. A game like Skyrim has a little bit of it. A game like Fallout 4 has a little bit of it. 76, actually, a lot of that map was built procedurally. It's static when you play it, but the way we built it development-wise, there was a lot of procedural generation there, because we were actually building Starfield as we were into 76 and using some of those landscape systems that we were starting on.
That's fascinating, and it shows how little some of us know, because I look at 76 and I'm like, that map is gorgeous. I know it's a whole different from like art direction and everything, but just I never would have been able to tell beyond the terrain, so it's very fascinating to learn something like that.
It's procedural in its creation, not how it's delivered to.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, if
that makes sense. I really have just one more question for you, Todd, and then you've survived the Maddie Gauntlet.
This has been awesome.
I really appreciate it. It's been awesome for me. Like, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to do this, man. I just want to talk about the future. I want to talk a little bit about the future. I've asked a lot of future-focused questions, clearly, because that's where my head's at. I always like to know what you guys are up to next. But I think about the rotation you guys are in, right? You know, the Elder Scrolls Fallout, now Starfield. Do you consider new IPs down the line? I ask this because Starfield was defined by you as a sort of, if not now, then when, right? So I know there's obviously, you know, with how long these games take to make, that you can only draw a line somewhere, and you can't say forever it'll be these three, but do you still consider new IP? Is it like, okay, we got that out of our system, so to speak, let's take a look at Elder Scrolls, let's take a look at Fallout, and we're going to kind of get back into a cadence. And with that in mind, this is more of a broad question. With Starfield support, is there a Starfield 2, or is that just we're going to continue to support this thing? I know it's a bold question, but...
Man, I would say we have our hands full right now, as we've talked about, and just making sure that we're like really nurturing each of those franchises. We have now 3, you know, big franchises.
Yeah.
To have Starfield be there, you know, it's 14 million players, and that's average playtime is still over 40 hours a player. It's just like a staggering amount of time in game, and so taking care of each of those franchises and all those players we talked about, we have our hands full right now, and just hope to do the best that we can across the studio for all of it. And we understand, like, hey, people are gonna have to wait sometimes till we get some of these big things out, and we just hope, you know, we hope it's worth the wait and everybody loves the games as much as we've loved making them.
Absolutely. That's all I got for you, man. Again,
this was awesome.
Yeah, seriously, thank you so much. Obviously, for me, I know we've chatted before, but just to have the opportunity to do this, I can't thank you and the team of Bethesda enough to let this even happen. You know, it means a lot, because I know I have strong opinions, so I know sometimes I feel like that walls off opportunities. So just know I will forever appreciate this moment you've given me just to have some time to pick your brain. And so again, thank you so much for your time, Todd. I really do appreciate it.
Nah, ditto. I love this. Like I said, I watch a lot of your videos. I'll click it, Maddie, depending on the face you're making and like your Mr. Beast.
So I've heard. People are starting to tease me
like,
a little bit.
So I'm really curious what this one's gonna be. And so really, hey man, congrats to you. Like, we've all followed your career here, and when this opportunity came up, I'd be like, yeah, I would love to talk to Maddie. And look, I think you've called it fairly on our stuff, and so we listen to that and appreciate it, and congrats, you know, for your channel and everything that you've done as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, I'll let you go, Todd. You've given me plenty of your time today. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. To anyone who's watching this, if you've tuned in, you've likely made this whole thing possible, so just thank you. And with that, I'll catch you in the next video. So stay sexy, stay active. Love you all. Peace.
The pyramid is a shape long entrenched in myth, a form intertwined with royalty and debauchery, godhood and deception to varying degrees throughout history. The earliest pyramids were the ziggurats, constructed by the Mesopotamians. They were built of mud that was baked into bricks from soaking in the sun and painted in bronze and gold finishes. The ziggurats would have the names of their kings etched into their walls. They featured flat tops that some believed once held shrines on them, a practice that endured for centuries after. Mesoamerican pyramids were sacred sites as well, the myths of the cultures that built them decorating their stonework. The ancient Aztecs would commit acts of human sacrifice at their pyramids, with estimates of victims numbering in the thousands. These victims had their still beating hearts removed from their chest, amongst other grisly methods. The Eye of Providence, the all-seeing eye, is meant to symbolize God's vigilant oversight of all of mankind. This iconography has been used in America's national identity since its founding. Its prominence in association with Freemasonry and the Illuminati, not the purple one, has had conspiracy theorists going hog wild for decades. Its infamous placement on the US $1 bill is seen by many as the truth only they can see being rubbed in their face, while the guy who put it there is probably in his grave shitting himself laughing over it. But undoubtedly, the pyramid pyramids that left the most striking and long-lasting effects on culture are those from ancient Egypt. These behemoths withstood the test of time, the largest of which still rank among the tallest pyramids in the world. It's said the pyramids were built like shirtless Goku to represent the angle that rays of sunlight would beam down onto the earth from. They were built of bright-ass limestone because of its reflective qualities. That way they looked dazzling and homosexual in the distance. Egyptian pyramids filled several purposes, but mainly as the final resting place for pharaohs, the divine rulers of ancient Egypt, who were seen as direct descendants of the gods. They did a lot of inbreeding to maintain that godhood, and sometimes they were shaped a little funky because of that. The pharaohs were famously mummified before their burial to preserve their flesh, as the human body was seen by ancient Egyptians as the physical form or tether of the soul, where if the body withered away, the spirit attached to it might lag out of the match as well. Interred with a pharaoh was everything they might need in the afterlife. Food and drink, including booze, beloved pets, and people were entombed alongside them. And of course, their riches upon riches. Priceless artifacts like the ornate gold masks of King Tut or a bust-down Rolex. The pyramids remained undisturbed and served their purpose dutifully for centuries. But where riches can be found, there will always be those making grabby hands for it. Whether it's the pursuit of material wealth from the likes of grave robbers or a hunger for knowledge from a passionate archaeologist, nothing can stay buried forever. But chasing power always comes with risk, no matter the form of power that you're after. The Curse of the Pharaohs is a long-held superstition. It warns that if you disturb a mummy's grave, but especially a pharaoh's grave, you risk unleashing great misfortune onto yourself. Whether it's hunger, disease, or used copies of Anthem, your actions against the pharaoh never go unanswered. It's literally that obsidian sarcophagus found a few years back with mystery mix leaking out of it. Put it back, you were never meant to drink the sewer juice inside it. Whatever way you look at it, the curse carries on to this day. It evolved its methods throughout time, from true belief of the curse to wide pop culture appeal that entertains the masses now. The curse went from being attributed to genuine magic to being explained as ancient germs that would cause tomb raiders to grow ill when exposed to them. Either way, the info hazard of the curse lives on, tainting the very shape of the pyramid, a shape defined by mystery and secrecy throughout mankind's time on Earth. These days, the 10th tallest pyramid in the world is a Bass Pro Shop. Well, it's in the top 10 at least. There's a surprisingly heated debate about where it ranks. No one tried to swim butt-ass.
Oh my god, that's the Bass Pro Shops fucking pyramid is actually real? Ducks Unlimited Waterfowling Heritage Center. Isn't Ducks Unlimited, oh my god, it's a duck farm?
Why would you need to when there's already so much to do inside? Hi again, and this is not my blood or another person's. It used to belong to a catfish, actually. They know they should fear me. The pyramid behind me is not just the biggest Bass Pro Shop in the world and something akin to fishing mecca. It also has a lot of other stuff. Stuff like an indoor artificial cypress swamp with 600 gallons of water in it and 36 species of fish native to the Mississippi.
36 species of fish native to the Mississippi River.
Swimming through that thing like the sperm in your ball sack. And it's framed all around by 100-foot tall cypress trees. A cabin-themed 4.5-star hotel and
how many of them die each year?
Resort called the Big Cypress Lodge with 103 rooms, some with views of the...
Oh my god, there's a hotel in it? Oh my god.
The asteroid is depleted.
Cabin-themed spa inside where you can get your nails done, massages, facials, or even your entire body waxed. Oh! A museum dedicated to the history of wetland conservation and waterfowling.
Why did you get your legs waxed, you fucking idiots?
AKA duck hunting, among other...
Are you going swimming, or, I mean...
birds they kill. There's a fish-themed dining experience called the Fish Bowl, where you can go bowling with fish overhead. Even the guy from Shark Tales here, strung up like a Salem witch trial victim. It's grim. And that grimness is all tied together by this fish-themed bar where you can wallow out your sadness because of all their dead friends hanging from the ceiling.
Sure.
The
Why
tallest
not?
freestanding elevator in America, taking a full 28 stories to complete your ascent, at the top of which you'll find the lookout
Tallest
bar and restaurant
elevator
set
in
at the pyramid's
America.
peak. Here you can grab a drink or a bite to eat while you look out at the 360-degree views of the Mississippi River and Memphis. The pyramid
It's in Memphis, Tennessee.
is all of that stuff and more in one head scratch.
It's like a bastion to the south.
Package, but probably most relevant to you and me, it's kind of a shitpost. This thing is practically impossible to forget about. Once you've seen it, it stays burned
Yeah,
into your retinas.
it's in your
forever.
retinas
It was only a
forever.
matter of how many eyeballs the pyramid could get itself in front of, and with the internet, it was gonna be a lot of them. Whether it's Redditors flabbergasted at the size of this thing compared to other pyramids, or at the fact that it exists.
Oh my god, it is like the size of a real pyramid.
At all, the insane
It's like the size of a real pyramid. It's like the American pyramids in its Bass Pro Shops.
the position of a girl in alternative clothing who can drive a tractor in demonia boots, stomping those same shoes onto the holy land of this pyramid's parking lot, or even the seemingly primal urge to recreate this structure in Minecraft like my buddy Jabroni Mike did. It doesn't matter if you're looking at this thing in person or through a screen. Once you've seen it, you cannot be compelled to look away. For better or for worse, this thing has seared itself.
What? There's like, okay, so there's like an entry welcome shop, gift shop place, like a theme park, and then you go back into the pyramid.
Memphis by force because of how
There's like an observation deck on top where you can probably eat dinner and stuff.
completely unmissable
And
it is.
get
You
drunk?
physically can't drive into the city without seeing the giant fish logo on the side of the pyramid. They even demolished the old Welcome to Memphis pillars as part of the deal with Bass Pro. That way the fish would always be the first to greet you coming into the city. The pyramid has even been immortalized into the identity of Tennessee to some
Oh my god, I had no fucking idea.
extent, as its silhouette appears on all new Tennessee driver's licenses, right next to the outlines of several other iconic buildings in the state, though perhaps none more
They put that on the fucking driver's license?
well known than the pyramid. And with so many people seeing this triangle on the skyline, mixed opinions are kind of unavoidable. Anecdotally, some folks praise the pyramid for being an indisputable financial success. Some are just happy the pyramid is getting used at all after a long period of slumber, but still would have preferred it to get used for something else. Maybe something that doesn't make people think of Memphis as the city with the Bass Pro Shop pyramid. I'm not Disclosure, this video is Bass Pro Pyramid propaganda. I am pro Bass Pro. I'm something of a pyramid head myself. I have been eating, breathing, and shitting this beauty for the last 6 months of my life, but said beauty is no stranger to controversy, both in its current form and even before it got built. It's been marred with countless issues and controversies over the decades. Some consider it a miracle that it's even as successful as it is now. So, what exactly happened here? But first, I want to tell you about today's sponsor who made this video possible in the first place. And I mean that very literally, Ironside Computers. If you've ever edited a video before, you know that video editing software like Premiere is
Now we're the city with the Bass Pro pyramid.
unreliable as hell, especially if you don't have a top-of-the-line machine. Editing programs will lag, crash, you can lose files and hours of progress. And these problems...
Shush, Brand. Shush. Shush, Brand. We don't need a pyramid, Brand. Shush, Brand. We don't need a pyramid.
Project gets bigger and bigger. When I was making the iceberg video, my longest video ever, I thought I was going to lose all my progress several times. That was because as that video reached the 2.5-hour mark, my PC could barely handle that shit. It started breaking down, and it would take ages for Premiere to unlag to make an edit even once. I was pooing myself scared that I was going to have those problems again, but my friends at Ironside Computers, they swooped in like a guardian angel and gave me a much beefier, muscular, and huggable PC. The
video you're watching this on is literally edited on this thing. This thing is heavy as hell, but the bit was worth it, so I'm doing it anyways. The quality of their PCs is incredibly solid. Otherwise, I would not be jostling this thing around like this. You can really tell that someone put their entire pussy into building this thing. Ironside hooked me up with this computer pre-built. It was made exactly to my specifications, and they packed this thing full of power. It has an NVIDIA GeForce 4080 inside. Like, look at that beauty. Vertically mounted, too. And it's got more RAM than you could ever hope to download. This thing has made this project a dream
64
in comparison
gigs.
to the Iceberg, and I do not plan on looking back. This has legit been my daily driver. I do everything on every day. It's sick. Ironside also offers customizable laptops that look sleek as hell in standalone stylized cases you can buy if you still want to build a PC yourself but want to make the outside unique as hell. If you go to the first link in the description and use code QUITE, within the first week of this video going out, you'll get 5% off your purchase, and if you're watching after the first week, code QUITE will get you free shipping in the United States. Seriously guys, this video would literally not have come out how it did without Ironside. They legit gave me this thing. So if you're in the market, please go check them out. They really are worth their stuff. It helps out the channel, and they've been super supportive of what we do over here.
Get the live, come on, you're blocking the pyramid. Get out of the way. Get the letters out of the way. No, I want to see the pyramid again. No.
Over here.
There. Oh my God. I can't believe how bad America's got now. Where's King Tutankhamun? Are there slaves buried alive in there when King Tut dies? I mean, why is there a giant Bass Pro Shop pyramid in Memphis, Tennessee? It's massive. It's massive, and it's right at the entrance of the highway. Wow, Denver's a lot better than Memphis, I'll tell you that.
Memphis, Tennessee has
Ugh.
a long history with pyramids. When it was established in 1819, it was named after the ancient city of Memphis, Egypt, which
Oh, okay.
in its time was home to the pyramids of Giza. Ancient
I didn't
Memphis
know
was
that.
situated on the Great Nile River, and Memphis,
Memphis,
Tennessee was similarly
okay.
sat next to the Great Mississippi River. It earned its name through this very vague parallel. With modern-day Memphis tied to ancient Egyptian roots since its founding, there was always like an itch the city wanted to scratch to better connect itself to its namesake. And this fascination with ancient Egypt had Memphis cooking up all kinds of crazy shit ever since. Like, from the city that gave us Anoli Chapa, is this building really that weird? From the song Shot of Flow 7, I Want to Fuck Kim K and Make Kanye Watch. One of Memphis's earliest pyramid efforts was an
What?
I Want to Fuck Kim K and Make Kanye Watch. Really
What?
that weird? From the song ever its namesake, its founding, there was always like an itch the city wanted to scratch to better connect itself to its namesake. And this fascination with ancient Egypt had Memphis cooking up all kinds of crazy shit ever since. Like, from the city that gave us Anoli Chapa, is this building really that weird? From the song Shot of Flow 7, I Want to Fuck Kim K and Make Kanye Watch. One of Memphis's earliest pyramid efforts was in 1897 when the city built an 100-foot tall pyramid made out of wood as its contribution to the Tennessee Centennial Expo. And
Oh no, they're pyramid obsessed. It's like that spiral video that Wendigoon did about the spiral horror manga. And instead of spirals, there are all the idiots in Memphis are obsessed with pyramids, to the point where they now have the Bass Pro Shop pyramid as their greatest passion. Oh my God.
pyramid was picked to represent Memphis.
This is hilarious. It's just great content.
Explicit ties to ancient Egypt. Absolutely genius.
The horror of the Bass Pro pyramid.
Inside the building
the horror of the Bass Pro pyramid.
exhibits showing what the businesses of Memphis had.
Look at that monstrosity. On top of it, it's got a cock ring. Look at that monstrosity. On top of it, it's got a cock ring. Look at that monstrosity. On top of it, it has a cock ring.
Something of a venue to symbolize what the city is about, you might say.
Lots of money, Bass Pro Shops, and cock rings on your pyramid balls.
But the idea of the Memphis Pyramid as we know it today was birthed in 1954 from the brain of one Mark C. Hartz, a local Memphis artist who is acclaimed for his architectural renderings, and who is also an Egypt autist, where kindred spirits are.
Egypt autist.
Right. Mark wanted to draw a parallel between his home city of Memphis to the ancient Memphis of Egypt. Mark's original plan was actually for 3 pyramids that would overlook the Mississippi River the same way.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's just, you know, the new Egypt is Memphis, America.
Pyramids of Giza skulk over the Nile. The main pyramid was envisioned to be 2/3 the size of the Great Pyramid of Giza. He just really liked pyramids, guys. And
I mean,
was robbing those dead-as-hell, millennia-old architects blind. These plans only existed as a dream in Mark Hartz's mind for over 3 decades until in 1985.
I really want to make the pyramids a reality in America. All the crazy things that you might hear on an acid binge. I really want to bring pyramids to America. It's something like, for you know, it really is like something somebody in the depths of an acid binge would say. Like I really feel that America doesn't have enough giant pyramids. I think we need giant pyramids in Memphis, Tennessee. And you're like, okay, well, let's go, Mr. Acid Head.
A new basketball arena for Memphis State University. It was around this time that Mark's son, John Brent Hartz, decided to revive his dad's
God damn it. It used to be easier for me to laugh at these idiots. It used to be a lot easier. Did you hear the easy laughter at the start of the video? But then there's this point where you realize that they probably sank like $5 billion into it. And you're like, oh no, you can't really laugh anymore. You start thinking about how they could probably end all poverty in America instead, but instead they built the Bass Pro Shop Pyramid. Like Akon's private island thing, you know? Oh my God. In 500 years, I believe the pyramid will stand. It will be a mecca of like, it'll be an expired wig expo next to the World's Fair in Memphis, Tennessee. See, the laughter is easy, but it's hard for me because I also look at it and I'm like, cha-ching! Immediately, my logic circuits fry. I like, you know, I'm like the bad AI in the video games when you kind of like run a rotation on it that it doesn't understand, like in its basic AI, you know. And it's in my brain breaks and I'm like, oh no, that thing looks like it cost $2.6 billion. We could have built a goddamn international airport instead. America could use more international airports instead of the Bass Pro Shop Pyramid monstrosity.
A proposal for this new arena. In 1986, a few years before his death, Mark Hartz illustrated a new image of the pyramid.
Oh good, yeah, this is, and it'll be solid gold. Nobody will steal that. None of the people in Memphis will steal any of that gold if it's ground level. Oh my God, look at his artist rendition. He's like, I want to do it all in plated, crappy, plated gold. Like the dome at the fucking Capitol buildings. And we want the giant gold pyramid as an eyesore that'll blind, you know, it'll blind space stations. The sun hits it at a certain angle and it fries the Mir telescope. God damn it.
Mosaic design. He scaled it down to just one lonely pyramid covered in glass the color of wet poo. As you can see, that feature was later dropped due to its impracticality.
Every junkie in Memphis comes down there with like a blowtorch and like like a firearm. They just start hacking at the base of it.
The proposal for the pyramid was rejected several times by the Memphis City Council.
I mean, yeah, I think King Tut could. I mean, I feel like King Tut could have probably covered the entire pyramid in gold. I feel like they kind of had that much money. It was insane. I feel like they had so much riches, and you know, I mean, when the amount of stuff that they found in his sarcophagi, I mean, or all that, you know, and he was a very rich man, Tutankhamun or whatever, and you know, I just, you know, I don't think gold plating anything is a good plan. Not when you have servants or slaves or anything like that. They're just going to steal it from you. You can't make a giant gold pyramid. You can make a Bass Pro Shops pyramid. It'd be a bastion to capitalism in America, but I don't believe you could have a gold pyramid in America. There's too much wealth distribution issue now, where a bunch of them are like drug addicts and don't have lives, and $5,000 to them is the difference between a successful life or not. You know? Like what happened with the PS5s for Kai Cenat, you know? You could tell a bunch of those people, I think the PS5 is going to be the difference between a good life or not. So like 50,000 people just swarmed Times Square or whatever the fuck it was.
Shit, until the concept caught the eye of one.
Because I mean, you can sell a PS5 for a lot. You could probably get it between like $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 for it, something like that, if you really tried. If you sold it at the right time to the right people. But like, so a lot of those people, I think, like they were thinking that was going to be like the big change in their lives, that, you know, that finally got them into the current console age as opposed to playing a PlayStation 4. And like, you know, or they just were gonna sell it and buy dope or something. I mean, I don't know what the plan was there. It was bum rush the guy with 500 PS5s. Maybe we'll get one.
John.
Whole thing was a disaster.
Tigrit was a local Memphis entrepreneur with
deep pockets always gets mentioned in the first like 2 sentences when you talk about these douchebags. It's like first you talk about their name, then you talk about how deep the douchebag's pockets was.
He made his fortune as a giant in toy manufacturing.
A giant in toy manufacturing, you say. Sounds like endless money. Kids love toys.
Responsible for such hits as Glub Glub the Drinking Duck. He bought the rights to that duck for around $800 before selling some 22 million units after. Former Vice President.
It was a good bird, and you know.
Gore likened Tigrit to a real-life Willy Wonka. Eat your heart out, shall we? John Tigrit also worked with a bunch of oil companies, among other things, which probably didn't hurt the bank account. But with this project, Tigrit got aroused at the idea of the pyramid as a symbol for the city of Memphis, a flagship icon that the rest of the world could recognize his hometown by. And due to his wealth and political connections, John succeeded where others had failed, managing to get the pyramid approved by city council. Tigrit's deal was this. He said that if the taxpayers of Memphis paid to build the pyramid themselves, he would contribute $10 million in private investment. Tigrit claimed he could get a private company to construct the pyramid for a guaranteed amount of $39 million, and that afterwards he would turn over the keys to the mayor's office as the car those keys started was driving off a cliff. Whether he knew that part or not, thinking the pyramid would get done at that dollar amount was unbelievable then, but especially now, considering what it took to erect this monument without Viagra. Notably, even though John Tigrit was the spit, snot, and semen holding this ship made of sticks together, it was his son Isaac Tigrit whose name showed up on the document that would seal the deal. Besides being John Tigrit's kid, Isaac is also the founder of Hard Rock Cafe, and as the owner of the franchise at the time, Hard Rock became the company responsible for fulfilling the private investment John Tigrit had promised. Ultimately, the prospect of Memphis getting a Hard Rock Cafe and the $10 million schlong John Tigrit was slinging around finally convinced City Council to approve the pyramid in a 7-4 split. There was one problem, though, one that led to all the others. When in August 1988, Isaac Tigrit sold Hard Rock Cafe to British restaurant mogul Robert Earl. He made this deal without gouging an agreement out of Robert Earl to assume the responsibilities Isaac had committed to regarding the pyramid. But Isaac managed to save the pyramid dream and did so while avoiding a legal battle by buying an unspecified franchise from Earl for $2 million.
Oh my
what
God.
that franchise was apparently worth. Agreeing to buy that franchise from Earl ensured that the deal Isaac had
Damn it,
signed to
Earl.
get the pyramid built would remain intact, at least for the moment.
We're gonna build it.
Was molding
If you
the
build it, if you build it, the Hicks will come.
as a form of blackmail, foreshadowing how
It's like the southern version of Field. I mean, Field of Dreams was fairly southern as it was, like you know. But it's like the southern, southern down, like good old, you know, good old boy, like hick version of Field of Dreams, who like except it's like mixed with like, you know, Scrooge McDuck from DuckTales. It's like the rich version it's like a mix between like the Wolf of Wall Street and Field of Dreams.
how he responds to anyone asking him for anything.
It's like the Wolf of Wall Street. If you build it, the Hicks will come, and so they're like, oh, well, we know they like Bass Pro Shops, and that they love Bass Pro Shops, and they don't care what Bass Pro Shops do. So
for that though.
So they used it. They used it to build this monument to their fucking penis. I bet you he got a cock ring the same day the pyramid got erected or whatever.
No matter how
Oh
John felt
my
about
God.
Isaac's deal, it stopped the pyramid from getting killed in its cradle, but it had the side
Yeah, don't kill the pyramid, dude. Don't kill the pyramid. It's a lot of our dumbass fucking Hicks dreams. Don't kill our dumbass Hick dreams of the Bass Pro Shop pyramid. I can't say it with a straight face. The Bass Pro Shop pyramid. I can't say it. I can't say it with a straight face. Don't kill the Bass Pro Shop pyramid dream, dude. The Bass Pro Shop pyramid dream is sacrosanct, which is a sentence I never thought I would say. The Bass Pro Shop pyramid dream lives on. 50 motherfuckers tried to kill the Bass Pro Shop pyramid dream. The Bass Pro Shop pyramid dream was too strong. As it stands before you, bear witness that it was too strong. Punk rock and metal tried to kill the Bass Pro Shop pyramid. but the solid gold Bass Pro Shop pyramid dream lives on.
potential hard rock of Memphis. The new ownership wanted nothing to do with him.
They're like, on one side we could have Bass Pro Shops, and on another side we could have Hard Rock Cafe, and on the other side we could have like a giant LED thing that like shines bright lights so the people can't sleep at night and all this. And oh my God, it'll be this huge bastion of capitalism, all designed to sell Bass Pro Shops goods and sporting goods. I sell Bass Pro Shops goods and Bass Sports Shop Sporting's goods.
John, in a sticky spot.
It's the new propane. It's Bass Pro Shops.
Without Hard Rock, the older Tyrant did not have a company he could use to make the $10 million project.
But he did have Bass Pro Shops and a pyramid fetish.
An investment he had promised. So, in his stunlock, John turned to a friend in his time of need.
Dude, you can't let the fucking Bass Pro Shop pyramid dream die. It'll kill me. I'll be in the ground. I live for the Bass Pro Shop pyramid.
Fellow rich guy and homie Jerry Parencio. Tigrit came to Jerry.
Nothing like rich white man to save that pyramid dream. Oh man, it's so wonderful when when one rich white man, totally goes crazy and pulls like a Taj Mahal situation, like William Randolph Hearst and like Rosebud and all that, right? Why can't I move? You're weird. You will not let me move. Citizen Kane, right? Like, it's really funny when a white guy, like, full-blown hauls off and pulls Citizen Kane, Well, then it's funny when, like, maybe 2 or 3 to 5 other white guys kind of pull off and get kind of sucked into the into the Citizen Kane pyramid. So now we got like 1 or 2, if not 5, irresponsible white people behaving badly who have the Bass Pyramid Pro Shop infection in their spiral fucked brain. And now they're gonna like blast Memphis with their pyramid erection with its giant cock ring on the top.
Send me your best Barnum. In case you don't know who that is, Tigrit meant P.T. Barnum.
Oh my god.
18th century businessman with a list of accolades, among them founding Barnum's Bailey Circus, which later led to a Travis Scott lyric. Barnum was a politician, a mogul, and a businessman, but above all, he considered himself a showman. Little fucking theater nerd. Tigrit was looking for a visionary, someone who could take point on the pyramid.
Little fucking theater nerd. Above all, he considered himself a showman.
And then came to Perenchio's mind was one Sidney Schlenker.
Yep, and so all the rich white guys get together, and he's like, you can't let my pyramid dream die. And they're like, all right, we like the pyramid dream too. We have all these like solid gold bullion bars sitting in our banks. You know, as long as you don't want those, we'll help you build the pyramid. You don't want our gold? And he's like, no, the pyramid hasn't even been built yet. We have to whip some slaves. Oops. Wrong person. Oopsie. Sorry, wrong one.
The asteroid is depleted.
Wait. I have to compress. Bass Pro Shop Pyramid. Every time I get depressed, I think about the Bass Pro Shop Pyramid and how much better it is than me. Bass Pro Shop Pyramid is superior to everyone. There's nobody who ever can say anything otherwise. Bass Pro Shop Pyramid is superior to every American dream. I mean, it just is. It just stands on top of the hill is the best dream that any Americans ever had. The Bass Pro Shop Pyramid dream. It's all just a big giant MLM in the sky. Big cock ring on the top of it.
Of course, had the mandatory Skyrim inventory of business.
Denver Nuggets, Houston Astros, untaxed income, Five Guys receipt, hobo corpse mangled, human blood, uranium, Epstein airline tickets, and a file of adrenochrome. Yeah, he had 5 Epstein airline tickets. I'm sure he did. And Kevin Spacey's phone number. I believe all of it.
He used to be an owner of the Denver Nuggets, which he later sold for a staggering $65.
Ooh, yeah, I remember when he did that, and it lit my city on fucking fire. My city, like, burned for, like, a year over this. I remember this fucking debacle or whatever it was.
$5 million, but more comparably to his role at the pyramid, he was president of Houston Astrodomain Corp, meaning he would...
Wait, no, I'm remembering something else. I think I'm remembering, Oh no, I'm thinking of something else, but I don't know what it is. I'm getting my memories screwed up here.
Astros and the Houston Astrodome. The Astrodome was a venue that, when active, was considered a huge success for the city of Houston, breathing life into its economy and later leading to a Travis Scott album. The Astrodome opened in 1965 before Six Flags Astroworld opened in 1968, and Astroworld was explicitly supposed to go hand in hand with the Astrodome, so the joke works, fuck you. Perenchio and Schlenker met during their time working at the Astrodome together, meaning Perenchio had seen Schlenker in action. Tigrit agreed with Schlenker as his pick based almost entirely on Perenchio's recommendation. For Schlenker's part, he was keen on the Memphis Pyramid. Running the Denver Nuggets actually cost a lot more money than anticipated and was set to be sold off soon, so he needed somewhere to go after. But it was also because Sidney was a quirky little guy who liked quirky little ideas, and the pyramid was about as quirky as ideas get. He saw the pyramid as having the potential to transform Memphis the same way the Astrodome had transformed Houston, maybe even leading to a Travis Scott album. Schlenker was also, platonically, head over heels for John Tigrit. When they started Twitch chatting regularly, they were birds of a feather. Trust me when I say they flocked together. rich as the salesmen, industry veterans, and had decades of experience. So they could relate to each other over that in ways they could with few others. They had something like a real friendship. I mean, as real as a streamer and a chatter can have. Supposedly, when staying up late in Tigret's Memphis penthouse, gossiping about fish or whatever, they get caught up circle jerking about the good old days. They would both talk about their decades of diverse experience, with notably John Tigret getting immunity during the Watergate investigation, but still refusing to snitch on his buddy Armandhammer in the middle of it. It always comes back to Richard Nixon. I'm never escaping that prick. He almost cost me a finger. All that said, if a visionary was what Tigret was looking for, he found one in Schlenker. And Schlenker's ideas of what the pyramid could be were far grander than anything Tigret had in mind.
Far grander.
Metaphorical inflation fetish as his.
Now he's, so now he's infected the brain heads of all the other irresponsible rich white men behaving badly, right? And now they've got a full-blown 5-man Citizen Kane situation on their hands, and the pyramid gets built. And God knows why, and I hope it makes them money. I just hope this makes them money instead of, I mean, how many of these fish die every year, and how much does it cost them? How many ducks die inside of the pyramid?
$10 million private investment.
Oh no! And I'm sure that's where this video's going to. Look! Wait! I think I see a fish rises. I think I'm seeing stuff about fish, right? And a fish rises. Yeah, I see dead fish and all this. Yeah, I'm wondering like how much this actually costs in terms of human costs, or not human, but of life cost. Whatever you want to call it, like ramifications.
Schlenker's plan also required that he get the management contract.
Oh man, we have to Citizen Kane this pyramid. Our wives won't respect us, and they'll think that our penises are small, and they'll make fun of our compensating for our small penises because of our giant SUVs that we all drive around in, our Denali's, right? And our wives make fun of the size of our penises at the Sunday bake sale or whatever. So we have to go erect this giant fucking pyramid so the world knows how big our penis is. Yeah, we gotta build a giant fucking pyramid. We gotta put a giant fucking bass on the side. we have to show the world how big our pyramid is. We have to show the world how big our pyramid is.
3,000-seat arena in the center of the pyramid.
And so yeah, now we've got a full-blown Citizen Kane Armageddon. 5 irresponsible white men with too much money and a dream. With Jeffrey's plane will fly them to that dream.
That would be owned by the city of Memphis, and he got that contract by wildly outbidding every other offer being made. In early 1989, when this was all going down...
Yeah, I was not alive. I mean, I was alive, but I was not cognizant of this at all.
Memphis was getting from the usual suspects were almost entirely the same. Prospective managers like...
I was not cognizant of the sale of the Denver Nuggets. I just remember something about one of the players being sold. Fuck, I can't remember. We had like the best guy in the league, and we sold him, and I can't remember who it was, but something about that, I really can't remember. I can't even keep all the fucking sports stars' names straight, even. Who was the Nuggets guy? He was really big. I can't think of his fucking name, though.
Bartolo, then owner of the San Fran 49.
Oh, good. All the football team owner guys are like happy with their NBC money and all their payoffs for their grifts and stuff. They all get together and plan the outcome of the Super Bowl together on the week before, and they're bored and they don't know what to spend their NFL money on. So yeah, giant pyramid in the sky.
Of the pyramid, where they would then manage the arena after it was completed. What Schlenker told Memphis Mayor Dick Hackett and Shelby County Mayor Bill Morris,
this thing dwarfs the river,
was that he would make annual debt payments on the pyramid in exchange for full control of the arena. Payments that would scale year after year, totaling a...
Oh no, so they did this crooked, backwards, no contract deal. They're like, if you give me all your money for the rest of your life, I'll give you whatever you want. And the guy's like, okay, can we build the pyramid? And he's like, yeah, the pyramid's what we're going to build first. What are you talking about?
$50 million over the course of a quarter century.
Now remember, that was back in like 1989 to 2010, right? So like, Yeah, so that was a lot more money back then. That was the kind of money that would have ended poverty in America, you know?
That's how old the cameraman is. He's a third of a way dead.
Mm-hmm.
This resolved the biggest fear the mayors had about the pyramid, that it wouldn't be profitable. Schlinker was taking a deal with the explicit stipulation he'd be willing to lose money on it.
I like this guy's accent a lot. I can't nail it, but I want to say upstate New York, Poughkeepsie. I want to say Poughkeepsie, upstate New York. Nobody talks like this. It's such a rare dialect from upstate New York. I want to say Albany, Poughkeepsie, somewhere around that area. I love it when they talk. It sounds like they'll kick your ass on the street.
To throw around made people think he really had motion like that he he was just rich enough to safely take on a venture as risky and expensive as the pyramid. He got that management.
He was like, I want to build the pyramids in the U.S. And they're like, well, as far as dreams go, at least it's real. You know? At least it's not for your wife or something dumb. At least it's for Bass. That sounded sexist, but I didn't mean it that way. I'm trying to make fun of these rich, toxic, masculine people. I don't believe what I just said. I'm just putting words in their mouth, like, right? Like, come on, man. We can't do another Taj Mahal or another fucking Citizen Kane. You gotta stop building giant fucking theme parks for your wives. You gotta start building giant theme park pyramids for Bass. Bass will always love you. Bass will never cheat on you with the tennis instructor or whatever rich white women do to their douchebag fucking Martin Shkreli rich white fucking piece of shit Citizen Kane giant pyramid Bass Pro Shops. Fucking nonsense. Fucking Drek. Torch that bitch. It's worthless. Looks like a McMansion.
To also take
probably fall apart in 100 years.
On the job of building an amusement park on Mud Island.
Oh, good. Mud Island. Yeah. Hey, guys, let's put a lot of really heavy fucking metal machinery and stuff and giant engines that run coasters and shit like this on top of a mud island. That sounds like a good plan. Jesus showed up and told me that Citizen Kane said that it shall be so.
It was supposed to center around an Egyptian/music history of Memphis.
Oh, good. He was going to build the pyramid on Mud Island. Yeah, shit you not.
This city just sincerely expected this guy to buy every door on Kino Dakota.
So I experienced this once before. I went to San Diego several times in my life, like 4 or 5 times, something like that, I think. Yeah, I've been about 4 or 5 times. And the 3 of the 5 times we went to SeaWorld. And every night at 9 p.m. every night of the year, or summer anyways, every night of the summer anyways, I think it is, SeaWorld in San Diego sets off fireworks like it's the 4th of July. Every single night of the summer, right? So SeaWorld, San Diego, fireworks is what this reminds me of. And so when you're coming into the city, you see SeaWorld San Diego, which is like their fucking crown gem, you know? It's like this fucking pyramid. It's no different. It's the exact same thing. It's like their monument to the world or whatever. It's their huge erection for the entire world. So they can just fuck the entire world, you know? And so, yeah. San Diego SeaWorld is like a world monument. It's almost a 7th wonder of the world. It's not like as amazing as the Florida one is, but it's still really amazing. I've been there like 3 times. And every night at 9 p.m. they set off fireworks, and it's loud and it's big, and you can see it from across the city from 15 miles away or whatever. And this is every night. Now, I'm scared that I'm gonna get a fucking SeaWorld San Diego, some kind of cease and desist from SeaWorld San Diego, so I'm going to get off this video now. But but we do need to see like 35 seconds of it. This won't be DMCA. I know, you thought I was like talking about crappy little fireworks in the sky for 15 minutes, didn't you? But no, at 9 p.m. every single night for all summer, they set off like basically a full-blown 4th of July like fucking cacophony. And if you're a tourist in the city, you can't, I mean, well, you can sleep, but if you're, let's say you're tired, like when I came in from one trip, we were tired from a trip from Kissimmee Cloud, and we were exhausted. And you know, we were exhausted from jet lag, and at 9:30 at night, this war starts, and you're like, what the fuck? Everybody in the city braces for it, and this crazy war starts with all these fireworks firing off at 9:30. I feel like people could kill each other and the sound would block it. And it's this thing that reminds me of like what I've been talking about. It's just this thing that reminds me of like like fucking Taj Mahal mixed with Citizen Kane and the Bass Pro Shop, the Bass Pro Shop Pyramid. And so yeah, the only other thing I've ever heard of that's exactly like the Bass Pro Shop Pyramid is the nightly sound rape torture citywide. The SeaWorld San Diego puts all of San Diego through at 9:30 at night. A bunch of bombs go off for like half an hour, and there's all this cheering and screaming from the park. And it's just funny. It's just a bastion to mankind's success, I suppose. They can set off fireworks every night for half an hour, you know? And you thought I was talking about some piece of shit thing, didn't you? No. And the entire city's like, what?
Thank you for your cooperation.
Never seen anything like it. You think I'm kidding? No, this is what goes on every night at 9:30. They blow up the bay, and then all these people gather every night for all summer. I mean, you want to talk about tourism? Yeah, it's San Diego. Yeah, I mean, look at all the marinas and everything. It's a tourist mecca. I mean, yeah, look at this shit. And you thought I was kidding? No, the only thing stupid enough to rival the horror of the Bass Pro Pyramid is the San Diego fireworks. All the kids are like, what? This is when a bunch of stupid Citizen Kane rich white assholes with too much money get together and just start sucking on each other's Bass Pro Pyramids.
Pyramid taking on the responsibility of developing the project.
Drink every time you hear the word pyramid.
Becoming the public face of it, a role that he embodied fully, as in the following years...
I believe in the pyramid. I'll die for the fucking pyramid. It's my fucking Taj Mahal to the world. You know? Fuck that. I want the pyramid. I stand by the pyramid, motherfucker. The pyramid, it's driven all of my business transactions for 25 years. In pyramid, I trust.
Sidney Schlenker was seen first and foremost as an S-tier salesman. He was an ideas guy that could make a blowjob sound family-friendly. Morris once said...
Well, I mean, it's kind of soft and warm, and at the end, you feel pretty good.
And to be clear, this is a quote. Sidney Schlenker could sell ice to...
Doesn't that kind of sound like a, you know, kind of like a blanket? You know? Doesn't sound like a blowjob, does it?
They just don't do public speaking like they used to, which I'm very happy about. The public's first date with the pyramid was an event called the Big Dig.
Oh, the Big Dick. No. You got it wrong. No. You misspelled dig. You misspelled dig. I am done here. Yeah, I'm done here. Let's go home. Dock. Home.
Warp drive active.
Dock.
Warp drive active.
When I left that party, I said, never forget the Bass Pro Shop Pyramid.
The ground that was meant to happen on September 15th, 1989, but it got rained out that first night and had to be pushed back to the 16th. The delay cost over $30,000 alone, perhaps a sign of things to come. The Big Dig itself was designed by John Tigrett's wife.
The Big Dig itself was designed.
Extravagant as all hell.
Oh my
Some
god.
might say more than it deserved to be, but definitely more than it could afford to be. The centerpiece was a 75-foot-long light-up shovel that would be flown by police helicopter and dropped.
Yes. 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 We're gonna drop a giant shovel on the pyramid.
Be built. After the shovel hit the ground, a bunch of fireworks.
Yes. Yes.
The exact height of the pyramid had more lights hooked up to it that lit up in the shape of the pyramid to be. It's almost an inverse of how pyramids of old were built to mimic the shape of the sun's rays hitting the earth, a reversal of the status quo. The Memphis sky was awash in a triangle-shaped light show. Down on the ground, there were hundreds of spectators, street parties, parades, and over on Mud Island, where I am now, comedian Dan Aykroyd was performing. Schlenker's spectacle was doing everything massive words. He initially called it
Dan Aykroyd's performing on Mud Island.
The Great American Pyramid. Hyped this shit up like it was about to cure cancer. Some would argue
This was pure comedy gold, every second of it.
Cancer. Schlenker said that what Disney and MGM did with a movie-themed park, the pyramid would do with a music theme. He said,
what do you call 5 Taj Mahal Citizen Kane assholes? What do you call them? Is it a...
Docking request accepted.
Is it an investiture or something? Is it a hostile takeover? I think is the word. It's a hostile takeover, I believe. What do you call like 5 irresponsible? Is that like what do you call a group of irresponsible Citizen Kane dudes? Is that like a hostile takeover? Like 5 Citizen Kane dudes in the South. How much damage could they do? I mean, they built a pyramid. It's like the Statue of Liberty and the Eiffel Tower.
First pyramid of consequence to be built in 5,000 years. Which, might actually be true. Probably just not in the way he wanted. Schlenker talked a big game and wanted to get Memphis behind the project as the thing that was going to finally give the city its tourist boom. As the thing that would turn shit around where other projects had failed to. And when he was doing his big talk, Schlenker would make big promises, telling the taxpayers of Memphis about all the amenities and attractions they could look forward to. Among other things, they were promised an Island Earth Eco Park show in
oh cool, hey,
an international radio station that played Memphis music 24/7, a Grammy Awards Hall of Fame, a Dick Clark's American
an
Musical
international radio station,
Awards Hall of Fame, a College Football Hall of Fame, a Hard Rock Cafe,
a College Football Hall of Fame, and a Hard Rock Cafe, and they probably intended to do all this.
The aforementioned Rockopolis theme park on Mud Island.
Rockopolis theme park on Mud Island. Rockopolis theme park.
College Football Hall of Fame, a Hard Rock Cafe. The aforementioned Rockopolis theme park on
Rockopolis theme park.
Theater and a glass elevator that would take you up to an observation deck at the pyramid's peak. And that's just
oh cool, like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, the sequel to Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, right? It's the glass elevator. It's a wonderful story. Guys ever read The Glass Elevator? Glass Elevator, so much fucking better than fucking Willy Wonka and the Charlie Chocolate Factory, right? Guys ever seen The Glass Elevator? Or sorry, read. Have you ever read The Glass Elevator by who is that? Is it I forget who wrote the whole shebang, but yeah, who is that? Is it Kipling? No, it's not Kipling. It's Dahl. Is it Roald Dahl? It is Roald. It was Roald Dahl. It was Roald Dahl. Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator is one of my favorite fucking tales of all time. They go to space in his giant glass elevator. What could go wrong? You know. Yeah, every night at 9:30 for like 5 months or whatever it is, the whole tourist season, 3 months.
Stuff actually mentioned to the public. There's more. You might remember that elevator from earlier, and it was the only one of those ideas that was actually followed through on. And it didn't happen until decades after the fact, when Bass Pro officially signed on to redevelop the arena. And despite all the excitement for the pyramid, there were still many who thought it was just a terrible idea.
Like please, we don't really want like an Egyptian pyramid in the US.
I said,
it is not our culture.
A tabloid one of Schlenker's friends sent to him read,
it is our culture. There are plenty of Egyptian Americans, and I'm glad that we have them. But I mean, it's not our home culture. It is someone else's culture. It would be appropriation.
The Incas all built pyramids. They all disappeared. Stop Schlenker before it's too late. And as it happened, despite Schlenker beating his chest in public, talking about all the nut-busting things to come, lol, the pyramid companies, the group in charge of its construction, were getting by on essentially a week-to-week basis. They overspent money all the time and racked up millions of dollars in debt.
Okay, so next week we have like another 10 million to spend, but I mean, the doors aren't gonna gold leaf themselves.
Money being shoveled into the furnace was an open secret to those inside the operation, where debt would sit piling up, looming large over the pyramid companies to make payments on. Whenever money did come in, through ad deals, last-minute loans, or whatever Schlenker could scrounge together, it would immediately go back out to pay off older, still unpaid debts. It was like that from the jump. The Big Dig, with all its showmanship, cost roughly $440,000, which the pyramid companies could not raise the full amount for, and ended up eating an $150,000 loss over. But to some people, this overspending reassured them that Schlenker just really had bands like that. He was just so rich that he could afford to spend big, even at a loss, if that's what it took to get this project across the finish line. Schlenker's huge $55 million budget made getting loans to cover it even harder, and since he was leasing the land that the Pyramid and Mud Island were on and didn't actually own it, he couldn't put that land up as
oh no, and he doesn't own the land either.
Collateral for the loan.
Okay, you fucking idiot. If you're gonna build this thing downtown, you better own the fucking land, or otherwise whoever you built on their land is gonna own it.
When you take out a loan, collateral is something...
That's not how that works. Like, so are you telling me that he doesn't own the land that the pyramid is standing on?
The value you give the person or entity that's lending you money.
Oh my god, I can't believe that's live and in real time and actually exists. Every time I look at it, I keep thinking that it's like some kind of Adobe Photoshop or like some kind of lie. But no, these fucking idiot Citizen Kane jackasses fucking blew like $150 billion on, or whatever it is, like, you know, $2 billion on the fucking, on the pyramid. Oh my god.
Related to what you're taking the loan out for, like,
it kind of looks like a plane could fly into it by accident. Do you see how it kind of looks like? I think the Simpsons kind of made fun of this. The Simpsons talked about having a building that was entirely sky blue, so that when you were like flying around in helicopters, you couldn't see it, you'd smash into it and shit. And this is what this kind of looks like to me. I think you could easily sort of miss it if you were flying in a helicopter. Oh my god.
Collateral on that loan. Collateral gives the lender some peace of mind that even if you can't repay the loan, then they get ownership of the stuff that you put up as collateral. Think of it like gambling. If you can't pay it back, you lose it. They can sell that stuff you put up as collateral to make some of their money back. Putting up something as collateral makes it more likely that a lender will give you a bigger loan, since there is more of a safety net for them. Because of that collateral, if you can't pay the loan back, they'll still have lost less money, even though they gave you a fuck ton because of it. Schlenker had a clever workaround for this, though. He basically sold advertising advertising space on every square atom of the pyramid's body. He would shove everything he could out of sponsor deals for that damn building. Everything from the arena's walls to the name of the pyramid was up for sale. Things like the Chrysler Pyramid and the Trans-America Inclinator were considered, even if the company it was
Inclinator
named after was nowhere near Memphis. And no matter the deal he made, Schlenker required high upfront fees and guaranteed annual income from whoever chose to sign on. Since these deals were secured income, Schlenker could use the money.
I need your money for the pyramid. You got to sign up and support the project. You don't believe in the pyramid? Then I don't believe in you.
Guaranteed in those deals as the collapse.
Like, that's how I feel about my stream. It's like, you don't believe in my stream, then I don't believe in you. Right? And it's like, you know, it's every man's passion. You know, the thing that you're passionate about. Like, right?
Looking from
It's funny. It's a content creator who's got the content in his head, and it's not really a reality yet, but he knows it could be.
the outside in, these moves from Schlenker seemed like pretty clean-cut wins to Mayor Hackett and Mayor Morris. But for however much money Schlenker was able to stick his dick in, even more
Now, Morris kind of sounds like the cigarette people.
would come out. An investment video from 1990 advertised several amenities that were in development. It mentioned that some were being designed by industry professionals who had worked on slam dunk attractions like Disney's Castle and the Epcot Ball. One of these designers was Rich Battaglia.
Yeah, Battaglia. He was the guy who did Epcot. Yeah.
Decade
I knew about him when I was a kid. My father was a fan of this guy, and he taught me quite a bit about him before we went to Epcot.
Experience working at Disney and created a plan for the amusement park on Mud Island that really excited Schlenker. But Rich was sacked after he revealed his plan would cost around $250 million to build.
Oh, good. It's only $250 million.
Louis Graham said, if you want a Disney project, it's going to cost Disney money. That was nearly 5 times Schlenker's already ballooned $55 million budget. And having already paid Rich when they scrapped his plan, the pyramid companies lost the money they gave Battaglia to design it and some of the limited time they had to plan and build the theme park before the pyramid's launch. The second designer they brought on was the architecture and design firm Jared, who had
It's like the cost of Concordia,
previously worked on the 1980
but on the land.
for LA Olympic Stadium, where KSI and Logan Paul had a press conference and nothing else important happened. Jared's plan leaned more into the Egyptian theme of the park instead of the
I'm going to go get a glass of milk. I'm kind of thirsty. I can't believe they built this. I also have to pee. I'll be right back. Oh my god. Bass Pro Shops Pyramid. Every time I look at it.
It landed it at a cool estimated 110 million. Yeah, they also got fired because that was
Okay, you know what this reminds me of is another irresponsible time I saw somebody build something completely irresponsible and fucking shitty. On the backside of Frederick Knutson's down the rabbit hole is an investigation of this dude who built his own house, but he had no prior knowledge of how to build a house. So then he it was an addition to his house. And I'll never forget this, and it was funny. down the rabbit hole. So, I am trying to find playlists. No, he has another channel. He has another channel, but I can't remember what it is. It's so annoying. Frederick Knudsen. What am I looking for? I'm looking for House. Right? I guess House would maybe find what I'm looking for. Yes, the Grover House. Here we go. So,
I can't help.
okay, so I thought this was such a funny. This is like one of the funniest videos I've ever watched. And I've watched this like on my stream like 3 times or something. And I'm sure I'm going to watch it 5 more. Because this idiot had no idea how to build a house. And he definitely built a house. And I find this hilarious. There's something endlessly funny about somebody who just gung-hos off into the fucking horizon towards something. Just believing that they're going to fucking make it. They're just going to fake it to make it. You know, deep house construction, adding a fucking, adding a, think about what it would take for a team to add an addition to your house. How much time, work, prep, and talking, and paint, and all that stuff, right? This guy just decided he was going to do that all by himself.
Hello.
With no plan, no blueprints, just started building.
Welcome back to the Warrens. I am Fred.
And the stairs lead to windows, so the kids go flying out the windows. They're falling down the stairs and stuff like that. It's
And as you
when you see the house, it's like the funniest thing I've ever seen on YouTube. When you see the house, you're like, oh no, this guy just decided he was gonna haul off and blow 300 grand, and he didn't even make a plan first. He just started building.
by Jabroni Mike.
Hello, listeners. Thanks for listening.
Today,
I like Jabroni
we are
Mike.
going to be looking at
I
something
think he's funny.
rather odd, an interesting piece of internet history that sort of stayed on the undercurrent of it. If you bring it up to an old forumite, they'll probably know what you mean. We are going to be talking today
The Grover
about the Grover
House.
House. Now, I have specifically kept some of the information from Mike because I want to go into this with a mission. I have a particular view of the Grover House, and I want to see if I can bring Mike around to my perception of it, which is very different from what I usually do. In fact, I originally was going to make this a Down the Rabbit Hole episode, but the more I looked into it, the more I realized there's not enough
Attention,
left
citizens.
for a Down the
Nuclear
Rabbit Hole
strike
episode.
imminent.
So it's like you got like a rabbit
Please
ditch,
exit
I
the
guess.
area at your earliest
Right,
convenience.
like an
Oh, I
indent.
lost it.
Yeah, like a rabbit indent. You could
But I
tell
made a lot of
like
money,
lay in
so-
there at one point.
He was thinking about it, and then he was like, nah. But actually, no, that's not even true to it, because it's more like there was a rabbit hole, and then it got filled in.
Got filled
But
in,
we'll
right?
get to that. Yeah. So, you might be asking, what is the Grover House? Well, the Grover House...
Oh, I got an
Sorry, I
Estero.
forgot to ask the question.
Yes.
I do
Look at
have-
that. Oh my god, I got an Estero for
Hey,
for
Fred.
70 mil off.
The Grover
Yes.
House.
Well, the Grover House is named after the person who created it, who goes by or went by Grover.
Oh, I
on the
lost.
Something
That's
Awful forums.
okay.
He created a
I win in the
to
end.
Chronicle. Now, I should mention he was an admin, not just a moderator, an admin on the site. And I believe, let me double check that actually. I'm pretty sure that this is accurate. But either way, he made a thread on Something Awful, chronicling his construction of an addition onto his house. I believe it's in New England.
Hey guys, this is Mike in post-production with 2 quick corrections. Fred states that Grover was an admin on the Something Awful forums, when he in fact was just a moderator. And the Grover House is not located in New England, but in Virginia. Neither points are
Virginia.
central to what we're discussing here, but we felt it
No.
important to include this
Yeah,
correction.
why not?
Sorry about that. and back
Cool.
to the
Yeah.
podcast.
It was good. Yeah.
As he was posting these images and he was sharing information about his building process, people started mocking him endlessly for his ineptitude, the ugliness of the house, the dangerousness of it. Just every little thing that they could pick apart, they picked at it for. But because Grover had the authority, he removed any negative comments, and eventually this drama, this little mini drama on the Something Awful forum spilled over, and people were making fun of Grover and his Grover house.
He created a little what's her name? Barbara Streisand effect for himself, right?
Very much so. Though he already was a problem, and we will get to that. But first, let's take a look at the house itself. Now, obviously, if you cannot see the video right now, if you're just listening, we will describe them as best as possible, but we will also have the images of the house itself available to view on the screen as we are talking about it. We're going to be interfacing with this largely through an old forumite's eyes. And they created a Twitter thread to explain and show everything that happened on it. And this Twitter thread is quite important to internet history because, as I mentioned before, a lot of the discourse around the Grover house has been completely scrubbed off the internet because Grover had the authority to do that. So, we only have secondhand accounts of it, but all the images are preserved. And oh baby, this edition looks okay at first, but then you start to look at it a little bit longer and things go off the rails quite quickly. So we can see that from the beginning, the Grover house was planned pretty much exactly as it was. If I scroll down, I can show you, Mike. Look at this. To help demonstrate what the addition would look like, he went into MS Paint and drew it.
Wait a minute. That's an MS Paint you could see the literal copy and pasted windows. I love the front-facing windows that were just lazily slapped onto the side of the house over there. You see that?
Yeah,
oh,
and
man.
he admits that it isn't a great like representation of what he wanted it to be, but man, I feel like this Grover is odd in many ways. He's very lazy in some ways, but then works way harder than he needs to in others.
That's
As
endemic to like DIY
I'll be right
stuff,
back.
which I wanted
Yes.
to talk about at some point. But go ahead, finish easing us in here.
As he was beginning to work on this house, let me see if I can find the precise image. So, one thing that he notes in the forums is that, so he tears off some of the old house, and then he needs to lay down a foundation.
Sorry.
But immediately, and I mean immediately, there are problems. He is in a very specific kind of place. See, he lives in a place, and I'm not joking about the name. He lives in a place called the Great Dismal Swamp.
So this was an addition to a house that already existed. Are there any images of
The Great Dismal Swamp. Oh my god. Swamp or a morass. Oh my god.
before he started doing anything to it?
I think so.
Because that would be interesting to see that, like a before and an after. Because
Well, you
all
can see
he's
some
doing-
of it.
It was an extant house. I had a lot of misconceptions about this. He's not building a house from scratch. He's doing an add-on to a house that he bought with his wife, right?
Right. Yeah, he has a wife. His wife was pregnant. Pregonate.
Pregante.
His wife was pregnant. So he already had a kid. Yeah, here he is in this image right here. that you
It's
can
a
see.
very ambitious.
So he already had a kid.
Pregante. Story edition. It looks like it's at least doubling the size of the house,
Right.
or it's intended
It's-
to. Yeah.
And the thing that really makes this impressive is that he's doing it all on his own. Well, okay, that's an exaggeration. He hires a lot of help for this, but he decides he's going to do the bulk of the building. He's going to plan it out. He's going to make everything proper. But he's not quite at the skill level that he needs. And when I say that problems arose immediately, I mean
Problems arose
he tried
immediately.
to lay down a foundation, and then he used gravel, and then he went to try to get it approved by the state, and the state said, no, you can't use gravel. What are you doing? This is he claims to have read this book front and back to make sure that he was doing everything right, and they kept calling him out on stuff. And the bulk of the problem is just he was so out of his element. Just to sort of demonstrate some of his incompetence, he used the same vinyl siding on the addition that was used on the rest of the house. And to celebrate putting up the Grover house, he decided to do some nice American grilling. Problem is, he put the grill right up against the side of the house, and he melted the vinyl siding.
That he had just put on there.
Yes.
When I look at these pictures, you know what I see, man? A lot of property. A lot of property. He's got a huge front yard, a huge backyard. Okay, why did he choose to place that gas grill a foot away from the house? Probably less than a foot away from the house. When he had this much property, what motivated that decision?
There was no thinking. There's no decision.
Grover is that he has the will, but he has none of the common sense. And it's amazing.
Yeah.
He has the will. I know people like this. They think they can roll with you. They think that they're Marty McFly or whatever, and they can just somehow Back to the Future with you, like it's all gonna be you in the dock or whatever. But no, most people just sort of fumble. It's funny.
But I'm seeing a lot of gross stuff.
Oh, absolutely. It's such a weird layout as well. You might have been able to garner from some of the images, but you've got the one floor, and then you have some stairs that go up along the side to get up to a sort of loft-ish second floor. Now, I want to show you one of the most infamous images from the Grover house, or I should say one of the most infamous angles. And I want you to tell me the first thing that you notice that's odd about this image.
Why?
Every time I've seen this picture, I just start laughing. When they're tripping and falling down the stairs, they're going to go out the window, which is the best part.
Or the stairs so thin?
So the stairs are thin, but no, that's not necessarily a problem. But
are they stairs?
You're on the right track.
Are they stairs even?
The thing that really amazes me.
Well, he's in this image. It's not.
Why is there one of the? Why is one of the stairs missing its insulation?
Stairs aren't finished. I could still see some what is it? Cotton candy, wall candy. I could still see some of that fiberglass insulation, right? I think it is.
Yeah, but
so
think
it's not
for
finished.
a minute. Think for a minute. Think about where that insulation is.
It's supposed to be in walls, isn't it?
Yes. He's insulated the stairs.
Keeps your feet warm. That's fine. And his feet are cold. What if he doesn't have socks on? He'll have warm stairs. I love how the tweet
He's
that this is
insulated the
embedded into,
stairs.
it says, "Merry Christmas, kids." There's a window positioned right at the bottom of the stairs that is the perfect height for a child to fall out of. So imagine this is what they're going for, right? It's Christmas
for a child
morning.
to fall out. It's Christmas morning,
and the kids.
And then the poor kids have had their stockings hung on the badly made stairs.
They're like, Santa, and they're running down the stairs to see what's under the tree. And one of them trips and just goes head first immediately out that window.
Half gainer out the window, yep.
Yeah.
It's the perfect height for that exact scenario to play out. Amazing. And it's Christmas time. You can see the tree and the stockings hung up too.
Those ghetto stockings on those crappy stairs that you can pay me to try and climb those stairs.
Is that why they're putting up Christmas decorations?
Every time I've ever seen this picture, I thought this was the funniest thing I've ever seen on YouTube for some reason.
In a house that's not even finished. It's beyond me, but okay.
They just wanted to use it. They were so excited for this edition that they could
I could
not
see
wait.
the meat of the wall, but putting up the stockings is a priority here, right? Honestly, I didn't notice that didn't even register to me. Like, why is there wall insulation in the stairs? I really didn't catch that.
The best part is, like, it's not exposed to the outside. Like, this is all interior. It's like it's insulating air from the air that is
insulate from the outside. Yeah.
Insulating air from the air.
And it's in the stairs.
This was so funny.
It's insulating against itself. It's insisting upon itself.
I think
it's not a double garage. It's
staggered.
two separate garages. One of them staggered outward. Does it go to the same room? Does it go? Or are those two separate garages?
Right.
Why would he not want one big garage?
This is approaching McMansion territory, where there's just additions that make no sense that are added in because they thought, hey, that might look nice. It's so obvious how not of a designer, like how much Grover is not a designer, right? He's an electrical engineer by day, he says, and he makes a decent amount of money, but boy howdy is he
obviously
not a designer.
does.
Yeah, idiots with money. It's an interesting thing, isn't it?
It's an interesting thing, isn't it? Idiots with money. The only time I've ever seen something as dumb as this goddamn Bass Pro Pyramid fucking thing is this. This is the other time I've ever seen anything that dumb and that funny.
Still, the last design.
I have to see the house again. So stupid. I just want to smack the house. And if the house was a person, I would smack it until it needed to get its life together.
If it's functional, okay.
What is the... Again, where is the original house? Like, if there was already a garage, and then he said to himself, I want a second garage. Is that what happened?
He wants to widen the garage. Now, he did smash down part of the wall, as we saw.
We just don't know. That's why I'm saying I'd like to see an original photo of, like, the undefiled building before he got his mitts into it and started just... Defiling it is the word, I think. I'm gonna assume this house is relatively normal.
Normal when he...
with it, right?
Right.
Well, we have a floor plan.
And we have a floor plan.
As you can see.
That is such a bad goddamn house. Does it have a closet to a shower?
You can see where the house...
No, it's a bedroom with a shower. It's a bedroom with a shower. How many showers does he have here? It's 1, 2, 3. Are those changing rooms?
They didn't used to park. I don't think they used to have a garage.
And this is what he built too. You can see it. He built it exactly how he drew the plans. Oh my god.
That's what this was supposed to add.
All right, so I see that now. And I could see that amazing.
When they show you upstairs, what the upstairs looks like, it makes me crack. It's hilarious.
Those two garages are actually
this
the
fucking
same.
idiot. This is what it's like when some idiot goes off on the internet and you're like, so this is what we see, but in your mind it looks normal. But this is what we see when you talk,
is what it looks like.
So why are the doors staggered?
Why did he do it that way? Why didn't he just put one big garage door?
Just do one big door.
If that's not a thing, I don't know.
It's like you have to have that brace right there so that you can't fit the car.
Maybe you could put two garage doors but have them immediately next to each other. What was the decision to stagger them? And
What was
like
the
room
decision
behind
to
it is
stagger
now
them?
Also staggered in turn.
They are staggered. You can see it. Stagger is the right word for whatever this L cut thing he did was.
But only
Who the fuck staggers garage doors? Staggers is the word for it, yeah.
half of the room is staggered. Are you seeing?
Why would you stagger the garage doors? It's so goddamn stupid.
Yes, I am, and it's why. Is there an aesthetic purpose? Is Grover a
No.
secret aesthete and we just don't understand his vision?
There's some kind of like next level feng shui going on here that we just.
This is the magic of the Grover house.
Mm-hmm.
This is why everyone wanted me to cover it on Down the Rabbit Hole. Is because the longer you look at it,
The longer you look at it, you begin to see that someone really spent some time on this and then built his house this way.
uglier it gets.
Yeah, and the more confusing it becomes.
There's like a bathroom in the bedroom. There's like changing rooms. There's like a dead cube here that's basically the size of like, you know, a person standing. That's like, I imagine, another changing room. I think there's like several kids' rooms. But it's kind of funny. I think this room's actually probably more comfortable than this room is. Because as you can see, the corner of the bed is staggered. It seems to like L-shaped staggers for some reason. And he built it like that too.
Right.
So now we have.
He committed. He committed to the idiocy. He just, you know, I don't believe he ever did stop. I don't believe he ever had I don't think he ever second guessed himself or had a negative thought about it. I think he just went through with the whole thing. He just sort of full blown hauled off and jackass like maimed his maimed his house. The kind of thing that would make like, you know, like painters and you know, men who build things, kind of, it would break their brains, you know. This whole thing is so offensive to the eyes that
left of that wall is the addition.
Yes.
Meaning that entire structure that contains the two garage doors was his design. It was his. It was all him. He built that. He conceived it, and he built it.
If you build it, they will come. My wife makes fun of me at night, but I'm still gonna build the fucking Bass Pro Shop Pyramid Grover house, bitch.
Thing is, like,
shut the fuck up.
How much extra work he made for himself, adding these extra little corners.
But we all get scared as men. I think there's a lot of existential stuff here, right? It's like, this is what we all kind of think is gonna happen when we do something new. We all kind of, we have this terrible sinking feeling, I think, when you're a man and you got to go do something like fix the fucking heater, the water heater, or like, you know, or you got to go, you know, you got to go measure the bathroom back wall or something, or you have to, you know, figure out why the garage door won't work or something. And you're in there for 5 hours watching YouTube, so you're drawing plans on something you've got to do that's going to involve painting and wiring and like plans. And you've got a family around who's watching you slowly descend into the madness of your own acceptance that you don't know how to do this. You're too proud to go ask someone else. You're not gonna ever ask anybody else. That's just not gonna happen. You'll fucking die first. You're not gonna fucking ask somebody else how to build your own fucking house. You're just not gonna do that, right? But it's clear a couple of months have gone by and the yard is a mud pit and the house looks like something out of a cartoon. And, you know, like Tom and Jerry after they've been fighting for 45 minutes, you know? And the wife is pretty much signed off and doesn't really live in the house anymore. She lives in like a motel down the road with the kids. And you can't live in the house because it's not to code. And if they find you living in there, they're going to charge you like $10,000, right? And like the mud pit's out of control. Your wife is thinking about divorce. You really will not ask somebody how to build a house. You just won't. I mean, you don't have any more money. You You just bullet train forward on that man plan of yours that didn't go anywhere good. And we've all been there. I think we've all kind of backed a bad Minecraft base, or we built a too big of a Rust base, or we've flown too close to the sun, or we caught a Dewey or something, or some such. We've all kind of had a bad time of it at some point in our lives, doing something, some way, something like that. And you're just an idiot. I'm sorry, but you're a low IQ person who's got too much money and too much pride. And you tell the people on the internet what you're doing, which is how we got evidence of all this madness. But you don't ever ask them what to do. And this is my problem with humanity. Is pretty much like pretty much I really trust a lot of other human beings out there to know a lot more about other things that I just don't know about, such as plumbing, cooking, construction, building planes. I wouldn't know how to start building a plane. I wouldn't know where to start. I would say I would need some decades of guessing. I would have to be like the Wright brothers, and I would have to make the plane myself before I could ever build you a plane. Someone else in the world could do that for me a lot better. Not Boeing. But pretty much anybody in the world who's in the aviation world could probably build me a plane a lot better than I could do it. I don't know how to build a plane, right? I'm okay with this fact. I'm okay with this fact the way this guy, Grover, is okay with the fact that he doesn't know how to renovate a house. Yet he threw $350,000 into some kind of fucked up jack-off fantasy that led to this.
Into his thought process.
Yeah, and there's no thought process here, just pride. It's like a man who won't ask for directions, but I mean, he's blind. He's not going to find his way out of the Minotaur's maze. He's going to need some help. This man is blind when it comes to the world of sight, that is understanding how to build a house. He is working blind. He has zero knowledge, nothing. I often equate this to many things that I do in my life, like being a streamer, right? I don't know shit about doing that at all. I watched like 30 videos, and I kind of like dreamed up some fantasy of what I wanted it to be, and then I chased it until I got it to be where it was like about 5 months ago. Took me 2 years to get there. But I still don't know. I think of my stream as exactly the Grover house, and no more, no less. I don't think my stream sucks as bad as the Grover house. I know it sucks, but I don't think it sucks as bad as the Grover house. I don't think there's anything in the stream that doesn't belong there. I don't think it's built with an L-shaped beam staggered so that the garage door won't work or anything like this. I just don't think it has like really fucking broke down, fucked up, like a fundamentally broken shit that would never work. Like the way this bed is situated in this bedroom. Right here is in the dead center of the house is the least amount of thought.
Nuclear strike imminent.
Which is just so weird because usually the center of the house is probably what you're going to think about the most, just in general. When you think of like a house, your mind probably drifts to sort of the center of the house, doesn't it? Doesn't your eyes kind of like drift to the center of the house? But the center of his house has a bed that's too long for the room that he built for it. And he can't turn the bed sideways without putting his feet towards the shower, which won't work because it's too small anyways. So can a bed even fit in this room? Could you ever get a bed from the garage door to this door to this door down past the Macy's changing room or whatever you want to call this, the Sears changing rooms, to the entrance to the idiot room that doesn't have a door? Do you see how this room Doesn't really have a door. I'm assuming that's a door right there. So how would you get a mattress to go ba-doom, 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 ba-doom down this fucked up room? You're not getting a mattress this size. You see it? You could, but it would be really fucking hard. How are you getting a mattress this size down that hallway and into this room? You're not turning it sideways and putting the feet towards the shower. We could be so specific about this. But you're not doing that. You're not turning the bed. There's not enough room. You can see it. There's not enough room. There's not enough room to turn this bed that you magically stuck in all of these rooms with your AutoCAD program that sucks dick and isn't AutoCAD.
Chronicling this.
This is not AutoCAD. It's like some free program on a website. Probably has like clickbait to like, you know, porn websites.
Did he talk about
anyone who criticized him got deleted?
See, like, now I'm not.
And I mean, we've all been there too. Oh, I did it recently to safety. They invited me to their fleet, which I was like, what? When they invited me to their fleet, I was like, oh my god, I can yell at like 13 people right now. And I'm going to. I lit up for like, I lit up on the stream and in their fleet chat. Why? Right after they ganked me for a Gila. And they invited me to their fleet chat. And they just opened up the chat. And they opened up this forum for me to tell all 13 of them how much I wanted them to tell them to suck a dick. And I went through the same thing that Grover goes through right here. Where I was like, if you open your fucking mouth, this is what I said to him. I said, if you open your fucking worthless piece of shit loser ass mouths